Chapter 470. As they talked, the topic returned to involving the three of them. Moreover, the three of them were at the forefront. The three of them were afraid of this. What they said was framing. If it was really written into a memorial, and the three of them were the ones to take the lead, then they would be finished. They would not be exiled or punished. If things went wrong, their families would be ruined. The three of them did not want to agree at first, but the official had already said that he would help them get their families back. If they did not agree, then they would not be able to stay here anymore. The three of them looked at each other quickly. Tang, governor of Ning, pretended that he did not see it. He still sat there and waited for the three of them to reply. Chao Harue stood up. Sir, it's like this. In fact, it's very simple to get our families back. As long as you lend us some money, we can do it. I wonder if you can take out some money. Money is enough. How much do you need? I don't have much. As an official, I only have some salary. I don't have any other money. Tang, governor of Ning, deliberately said this. Chao Harue clearly knew that this was a lie, but he did not dare to expose it. He could only say awkwardly, actually, it's not much. If you lend me 5,000 strings of cash, then I can repay the debt. What? 5,000 strings of cash? If it was 5,000 strings of cash, I might be able to come up with some ideas. But it's not that much money. I can't get it even if I am an official for 100 years. I don't know why your family owes so much money. Don't you know how much your salary is? Tang, governor of Ning, left his chair in surprise. He was really surprised. He knew that these three people were tricked by Zhang Zhong and owed him some money, but he did not expect that they owed so much money. What kind of trick was this? These three people did not look like fools. He could take out this much money. Did the Ning family lack 5,000 strings of cash? Not to mention 5,000 strings of cash, even 10 or 100 would not be a problem. However, he absolutely could not take out the money. In his heart, the three of them no longer had any value to him. It was not worth investing so much money. If he had the money, why would he give it to the three of them? Wouldn't it be better to send it directly to the imperial court? Therefore, no matter what, he would not give the three of them any money. It was already good enough that they could eat, drink, and live here. When the three of them heard the Lord's words, their hearts turned cold. They knew that the Lord wouldn't give them any help. When they came, they already thought of this. How could 3 stray dogs be favored by the Lord? The only thing they could do now was to be loyal dogs. Otherwise, there was no other way out. The three of them looked at each other again and nodded. Chao Harue took the lead and knelt down with a thud. He kowtowed to Tang, governor of Ning, and said, Lord, I will listen to you. My lord, this lowly one will listen to you in the future. This lowly one will do whatever you tell me to do. This lowly one will not ask a single question, nor will I dare to refute. I beg you, my lord, to save us. We are truly at our wits' end. My lord, if you tell this lowly one to bite someone in the future, this lowly one will definitely not use my hands to fight. His words were very clear. He was willing to be someone's dog. Tang, governor of Ning, didn't expect Chao Harue to be like this. He looked at the other two people. The two of them also knelt down and kowtowed. What they said was roughly the same as what Chao Harue said. As long as this matter was over, they would sell themselves. Tang, governor of Ning, sighed. He could understand the three of them. It wasn't that the three of them didn't have a backbone, but that the three of them were really forced into a corner. Otherwise, how could they be so shameless? It wasn't easy. Thinking of this, Tang, governor of Ning, nodded and said, Money, I really don't have it. Without waiting for the three of them to show a sad expression, he continued, Just because I don't have it doesn't mean that my family doesn't have it either. I have a distant relative who does some small business. Tell me the amount of money each of you owes, and I will help you borrow it. You will have to pay it back. But you don't have to worry. You don't have to pay interest on the money, and there is no time limit. When the time comes, the three of you can go back. I'll write a letter and a memorial to the imperial court. I'll hand the letter to Zhang Zhong and say that I'm the one who secretly brought you here. As for the letter to the imperial court, I'll say that Qin province was also affected by the disaster, and I saw how well Lu Zhou managed it, so I wanted to learn from him. But I was worried that the imperial court wouldn't tell me, so I secretly found the three of you. I will take responsibility for this, and I will write down exactly what Zhang Zhong did here. Do you understand? Tang, governor of Ning, indeed valued Chao Herue more. At least they were judges, and they were the ones who once overthrew the provincial governor. How could they do it if they didn't have some ability? People like them couldn't be sent to Qin province to do things, but they could be sent to other places. Who knows, they might be of great use in the future. When the three of them heard that they could borrow money, they nodded. Even though they knew that they had just jumped out of the wave's nest and into the tiger's den, they had no choice but to agree. The main reason was that their lord was willing to help them settle this matter. Otherwise they would be finished even if they went back. In any case, they owed money. It was better to owe a master than an enemy. At worst, they could do more things in the future. Especially when they still had to pay interest every month. This matter could not go on like this. Chao Herue's reaction was faster. He kowtowed with all his might and said, "Thank you, Darren. Darren, you are our benefactor. Darren, do you want us to find a few more of Zhang Zhong's faults and write them down together? What if the previous ones are too light? What problems? If you really write down the problems, then you can just wait for death. I just want to praise Zhang Zhong. Not only can I not say his problems, even if there are, I can't say it. I also have to exaggerate some things. This way, even if I am not jealous, I can also do a favor for Zhang Zhong. Otherwise, why would he let you go?" Tang, governor of Ning, suddenly felt that his decision just now was a little wrong. He shouldn't have made a decision so early. Could it be that these three people were fooled by Zhang Zhong? They didn't even understand such a simple logic. At this time, Fan Jianxi said, "My lord, we understand. It is to say good things for Zhang Zhong and make him happy. At the same time, it will make some people in the imperial court suspicious and jealous. Even if there is no chance now, when the time comes, they will frame Zhang Zhong behind his back. My lord, you are really good. I have thought for so long but still can't understand completely." Tang, governor of Ning, was very happy to be patted, but he refused to admit it. "I didn't think so. These things were all thought of by you. When something happens, don't push the blame to me. Remember." "Yes, yes, my lord, you didn't say it. Thought wrong. Compared to you, my lord, it is like comparing the stars to the moon. I can't compare at all. My lord, what should I do now?" Fan Jianxi quickly echoed. He didn't dare to say it too clearly at this time. Anyway, even if he knew, he had to pretend that he didn't know. At the same time, he also wanted to go back early and return the money first. He wanted to see Zhang Zhong's face when the time came. The other two people also raised their heads and looked at Tang, governor of Ning. Hopefully, they could get the money as soon as possible. Of course, there was also the letter that could save them from being punished. Tang, governor of Ning, how could he not know the thoughts of the three people at this time? At this time, it was time to give them benefits. Wei Wei nodded and said, "You will be able to get the flying money in a while. Hand in the flying money and then hand in the letter." "No, you have to hand in the letter first. Otherwise, Zhang Zhong may feel that he can't catch you and will not care about this favor. Remember." "Yes, my lord. We will remember. My lord, then we will leave first and wait for your good news." Fan Jianxi understood as soon as he heard it. If they gave the flying money to Zhang Zhong first, and Zhang Zhong saw that the money was returned, he would naturally do something else. But if they gave the letter first, it would be different. When Zhang Zhong saw the letter and thought that they still had to return the money, he would first pardon this crime, or give them a lighter sentence. After they were punished, they would return the money at that time. They didn't have to worry about Zhang Zhong finding an excuse. Thinking of this, the three people were happy. They couldn't force their lord to give them the money, so they could only wait. The three of them had already thought about it. They would ask for more money so that when they returned the money to Zhang Zhong, there would still be some left, and they could use it on their new small business. Tang, governor of Ning, didn't say anything again. The three people knew that he agreed, so they left one after another. As soon as they left, the three people felt that their clothes were wet. They were too nervous just now, and they were afraid that their lord would not help them. Now they were much more relaxed. I will remember. When we go back to do small business, let the servants go to Lianzhou. They can't be in Luzhou. Also, if the Zhang family comes to talk about business again, or if someone from outside comes in person, don't meet them. They can't come again. After they came out, Fan Jianqi wiped the sweat on his forehead and said. The other two people nodded. They were also scared. Zhang Zhong was not a person to be trifled with. The three of them couldn't deal with him, so they could only wait for their lord to do it himself. When the time came, they would just watch from the side. At this time, Chao Harue said, Listen to me, when we go back, we must find a way to inquire about Zhang Zhong. I don't think the Lord will do it so soon. After all, this year's grain has just arrived, and many places have not recovered yet. The Lord needs to take a break first. We can't just forget about the matter here. We must show our ability. Otherwise, the Lord may think that we are useless. When that time comes, not only will we have to return the money, but we may also be abandoned. When the other two people heard this, they understood. At the same time, they hoped that their lord would do it a little later, so that they could have more time to gather information. Only then could they show their ability. They didn't have to wait for too long before the letter was written. The three of them reported the amount of money they owed. In addition to preparing to do some business in the future, they were also worried that Zhang Zhong would scheme against their families. If their families owed more money, they wouldn't be able to pay it back when they returned. They couldn't make another trip, right? After taking the money and the letter, the three people left here in high spirits. They took a boat and went back by water. They would arrive in a few days, so they were very excited. Sitting on the boat, Chao Harue couldn't help but say, This is great. Let's see what Lu Shaoqing can do. Didn't he want to take advantage of himself? He didn't even come to see us and didn't tell us what the shrimp sauce was for. When we go back, should we pay him a visit? Chao Harue felt disgusted in his heart. He blamed 10% of the grievances he suffered here on Lu Shaoqing, especially when he was robbed and beaten. He felt that Lu Shaoqing didn't get beaten, so he felt uncomfortable. Moreover, when they first came out, Lu Shaoqing seemed very mysterious. When Fan Jianqi heard this, he laughed heartily. He took the wine from the table next to him and poured it for the other two people. He said gloatingly, Brother Lu, it's not easy for you. Why did you forget to ask for more money just now and help pay back Brother Lu's share? We really forgot. Unfortunately, we can't go back now, so we can only let it go. I think Brother Lu has a lot of ways. When we go back, Brother Lu will probably pay back all the money. What do you think? Yes, that's right. Brother Lu is a capable person. How can ordinary people compare to you? We admit that we are not as good as you. When we go back and deal with this matter, I will buy more firecrackers to celebrate with Brother Lu. Jiang Huanshi also agreed. The three people had nothing to do now. Once their mentality changed, they began to scheme against others. Zhang Xiaobao didn't know that the other side had finished negotiating. In fact, he had prepared some means. He didn't really care about Jiang Huanshi and the other two people, but he had to take precautions against the Ning family. After all, they were a big family. After so many years, how could they give up their place for nothing? Maybe they were also thinking of ways to scheme against him. But now, Zhang Xiaobao didn't have time to care about those things. He continued to talk about business with Wang Wan and Li Sun. This time, the business wasn't about raising precious fish, but things like sofas. Xiaobao, what is this? It's really comfortable to sit on. Are you going to sell it? Give me a few sets first. I will give them to people. I will also give you the money, but you can't ask for too much. Li Sun shook the sofa a few times. He felt that it was very good and said to Zhang Xiaobao, This was a good thing. He touched the leather of the sofa. It was soft and soft. Zhang Xiaobao also tried a few times and felt that it was okay. In fact, what was placed below was not a spring, but a piece of bamboo. Compared to the spring sofa, it was still a little worse. Especially since he could not use too much strength, Zhang Xiaobao was going to use this to try first. If it worked, he would put a piece of iron inside. The elasticity of the iron wire was not enough, but the iron pieces were okay. When the time came, he could sell them for money. These leather were brought from the north of Beijing. This thing was also very easy to imitate. Not to mention that there were no patents here. Even if there were patents, there would still be fakes. Zhang Xiaobao was going to create this consumer group. Ordinary people shouldn't expect to use such things. It was enough to have a stool to sit on. Why should everyone enjoy it? Even if he wanted to let the people enjoy it, it was impossible. The cost was there. Now that he saw that Li Sun was satisfied, Zhang Xiaobao asked, "If I sold it to you, how much do you think you would be willing to pay for it?" "How much?" "Now there is only one. I am willing to pay 200 strings of coins. After all, it is a set. Look, this one can lie down, this one can sit on, and there is a cushion made of cotton. Plus these small wooden tables. 200 strings of coins is not expensive. Although I know that the materials used to make these things add up to 40 strings of coins." Li Sun happily picked up a pillow and gestured. He felt that the price given was very reasonable. Zhang Xiaobao shook his head and said, "How many do you want to buy as a gift? I sold it to you for 200 strings of coins. If others come to buy it, I won't sell it for less than 300 strings of coins. You can't always look at the materials. You have to look at the craftsmanship. For example, when buying jade, do you only look at the quality of the jade itself? Don't you look at the knife skills? Isn't that the truth?" The cost was indeed 40 strings of coins. It was not the leather that was valuable, but the wood that was valuable. The wood used for the sofa and the small table were all good wood. This was the feeling of wealth. The cost of 40 strings of coins, if it was shipped to Beijing, there would be a shipping fee. This thing was precious and could not be casually sold. When the time came and it was sold for 200 strings of coins, only then would it be able to make more than 100 strings of coins. The profit ratio of this luxury item was too small. It had to be sold for 300 strings of coins. This was still considered cheap. When the brand was made, it would not be sold for less than 400 strings of coins. The rich did not buy things but face. Wang Wan was also very clear about this. Back then the things she used were better, and LV bags were extremely expensive. In the end, she found out that it was a domestic OEM. As long as one did not want the logo, and the same materials and manufacturing method were used in the same place of origin, they could be bought at several times or even more than 10 times the price. What one bought was the brand name. Of course, it was not easy to create a brand, but the current between the clouds and the water brand was solid enough. As long as this sofa was branded between the clouds and the water, the brand would be there. Wang Wan was now thinking about whether it was better to create a single brand or two. That way it would be a double brand. There were gains and losses. Thinking of this, she asked Zhang Xiaobao, "Xiaobao, single brand or double brand?" Li Sun naturally did not understand. He looked at the two of them in confusion, hoping to get more useful information from them. Zhang Xiaobao fell into deep thought. After thinking for a while, he smiled and said to Wang Wan, "It's not a single brand or double brand. I want to use this series of actions to create 2 brands and 2 business groups. Through the subsidiary company, I want to borrow the brand of the parent company between the clouds and the water to become famous. Then I will use another shell company to acquire it. The name of the shell company will be called Sea Clouds Company or something else so that people will not know that it is a transaction between the Zhang and Wang families. During this process, we will use some business annexation methods to fight a beautiful business war. In the end, the new company will take the brand, and between the clouds and the water will make money from this business war. It will make people unable to distinguish who is the winner and who is the loser. During this process, we can rope in other businessmen to become 2 sides and compete with each other. In this way, if there is a businessman who is not good to us between the clouds and the water, We will know. Then we will manipulate the new company to make this businessman lose more money. The two companies can be neck and neck, giving people a sense of conflict. This is the internal competition system of enterprises. Who says that the Zhang family can't have another parent company? There are still many details. I will go back and think about it slowly. Don't worry, this kind of thing is not difficult for me. Wang Wan nodded vigorously. She really did not expect that Zhang Xiaobao would do this. This was actually a kind of scam, especially for those businessmen who were attracted to help Zhang Xiaobao. Zhang Xiaobao was preparing to make a fortune from these businessmen when he became famous. Thinking of Zhang Xiaobao's identity, Wang Wan expressed her understanding. Well, I know this kind of thing is not difficult for you, but you have to think about it carefully. When the two companies merge, those who have been cheated will eat you up. This kind of trick is a bit too much. Don't be afraid. In business, even if you offend him, as long as you give him enough benefits later, he will forget his hatred, unless he is not a businessman. We will talk about it when the time comes. Let's talk about the furniture system first. There are not many kinds of furniture here. If we did not make the tables and chairs, people would still be sitting on benches and futons now. And the back of the chair is not connected. It is a separate shelf. Zhang Xiaobao patted the sofa and said. He felt that this kind of business behavior was not a scam. If he could not bear to do it, he would let everyone make some money and not lose money. The real scam could be derived from this kind of behavior, but he did not want to do that. The main thing was that the opponent was different. Now that they were doing well, there was no need to use that kind of trick. Their reputation would become bad. If it was at that time, what was reputation? But it was different here. The commoners looked at reputation, and the imperial court looked at reputation. The status of businessmen was too low. If they really used all the tricks, not only would they let the people of this era know how powerful they were, but they would also ruin their reputation and nurture the businessmen here. The ancients were not so easy to bully. They might be cheated once when they did not know about this kind of method, but if they wanted to cheat again, they would not treat those aristocratic families as decorations. They had many talents, not to mention others, just the top players in the game were already promoted. There were many questions that others could not answer at first, but after a few tries, they could find the pattern. When Wang Wan heard Zhang Xiaobao say this, she was relieved. She also realized that as long as the things that she and Zhang Xiaobao researched were brought out to the Ministry of Works, they could immediately do better. Furthermore, they could summarize some experience to change. The only thing that she and Zhang Xiaobao could rely on was the wisdom of the ancients. They had to thank that crazy era. The capable were the top, and the mediocre were the bottom. If they wanted to live a good life, they had to work hard. If one had a master's degree, others had 2 doctorates. If one could produce 3,000 kilograms of rice per mu, others could produce 5,000 kilograms. The waves washed away the sand, and all kinds of methods emerged one after another. Not many people would pity the losers. They could only move forward and move forward. If they stopped, they would be surpassed. Some people abandoned their dignity and morals. Some people wavered on the edge. Very few people could hold on to that last line. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan were both thinking about all kinds of things. Li Sun was also thinking at the side. He now understood a little bit. The Zhang family wanted to secretly support another place to do business, and then compete with between the clouds and the water. They wanted to use this to attract some businessmen who were interested in between the clouds and the water. He understood this matter. It was actually like this in the imperial court. Let the people below compete with each other, and then get things done in this competition. However, this kind of thing was not so easy to control. Thinking of this, Li Sun said to Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan, "Then I will also create a business group and join in. It will be stronger than the 2 groups you created. It will be a tripartite balance of power. Let the 3 of them compete together. Only then will they be afraid of failure at any time. When one family becomes strong, they will not dare to make a move against the other 2 families, lest the 2 families join forces to deal with them. What do you think? Is it feasible?" After Li Sun finished speaking, He looked hopefully at Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan. He wanted to know what the two of them were thinking. Only if they agreed first, then the people behind the Zhang family would agree. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan were very surprised. The two of them did not expect Li Sun to have so many ideas. A tripartite balance of power was better than two groups competing with each other. Even if one group lost in one area, they did not have to worry about losing as a whole. If one group won a little, they would have to defend themselves, unless they felt that they had the ability to fight against the two families together. The two of them looked at each other. Who said that this kid Li Sun did not know anything? As soon as they introduced the mechanism of competition, the other side thought of the tripartite balance of power. Zhang Xiaobao was the first to express his opinion. Okay, it is just that the three families are involved with each other. After this sofa is done, Child Li will set up his own business group and include the business industry. Let the three families have a lot of the same business. This way it will be easier to compete. Li Sun was very happy. He thought that if the two children were recognized, then he would not have to worry about the people on the Zhang family's side. In fact, doing business did not require the approval of the Zhang family. The problem was that Li Sun felt that he did not have so many good skills. If he really set up the business group without the support of skills, he would be defeated quickly. Unless he used the power of the Wang family, but this power could not be used all the time. It was best not to use it at all and only use it at the critical moment. It was because of this that Li Sun hoped to get the support of the Zhang family. Wang Wan also knew Li Sun's idea, so she said, "Then I will give you a skill first, which is to make bags. I'm going to use all kinds of leather to make bags, including satchels and handbags. In short, no matter what kind of people and what kind of clothes they wear, at least they should have their own leather bag. I can draw a few kinds of bags for you first, and you can try to make them to sell. Don't think that other people don't have bags. As long as someone has it first, then many people will learn, especially in Chang'an. Look at the clothes that people wear. Many of them are not from their own side, and they will learn to wear them. It's made from the skin of various animals, including fish skin and some crocodile skin. This is good stuff. It's sturdy and durable, and the texture looks good. It's settled then. I was thinking of using Aqua Cloud Room's brand together, but I'll give it to you." Li Sun didn't know what this bag was, but since it was brought up, it was naturally good. Since the other party had given the skill, then he should also give some benefits, and this benefit was naturally a share of the profits. "Well, it's done. I will give you 30% of the profits. You can give me the drawings of those bags. Just give it to me first and wait for it to be done. If it really sells well, I will let the craftsmen figure it out themselves. We can't always rely on others." At this time, Li Sun expressed his attitude. In fact, Wang Wan was a little reluctant, but considering that if this was given to Li Sun, she wouldn't be able to do it. When the time came, she would do the same thing, only the brand would be different. Thinking about this, she felt comfortable again. This time, she gave the skill to Li Sun, and then divided the profits, which was considered to be good. The three of them talked about some business matters. Li Sun mainly listened, as he knew too little about this. Zhang Xiaobao talked the most, but it didn't involve anything too difficult. He didn't tell Li Sun about the tricks. These things were easy to talk about, but it depended on the person's ability. Some people would slightly change the way they used it, while others would foolishly copy it. In the end, not only did they not cheat others, but they also suffered losses. As they were talking, Li Sun suddenly thought of a very important thing, and said to Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan, These things are not difficult to make. What if others copy it? We can't force them to learn it." Zhang Xiaobao had already thought about this matter, so he replied, "It's simple. When we make things, we make a few marks that are not easy to be noticed. When others copy it, we don't care about it first. Some people think that the imitation is cheap, so they buy it and put it at home. The price of these items can't be afforded by ordinary people. Only the rich, powerful, and gift-givers can afford them. When they've bought enough, we'll tell them one of the marks. Those without the mark are all worthless fakes. That's why we don't have the mark on them. The premise is that we have to make a mark first. In order to make a mark, we specially make some good furniture and send it to the imperial palace or the prince's mansion. As long as these places use the mark, then the other things are worthless. Young Master Li, you said that you're housekeeper or you bought a set of sofas at a cheap price. It looks like something from the subsidiary company of Between the Clouds and the Water. When you find a few people to show it off, suddenly someone who knows the mark looks around your sofa and doesn't find it. What do you say you will do? After Zhang Xiaobao finished speaking, he stared at Li Sun, waiting for his answer. Li Sun suddenly trembled, imagining the scene at that time, and said, I will find a hole and hide in it. If I spent the money for the sofa Between the Clouds and the Water, and the housekeeper bought it for me, I will let him know that sometimes life is more painful than death. That's right. The mark is a symbol of identity, so this mark must be made first. I will leave the gift-giving matter to you. Just so happens that you can do a favor. Zhang Xiaobao planned to do so. He could make a few more marks and then uncover them one by one. Some even needed to be smeared with chemicals to know. In this way, he didn't have to worry about the counterfeit goods. Who could afford such things didn't have to be shameless. At that time, it would not just be a matter of losing face. These people would settle the score with the servants who deliberately bought the fake goods. At the same time, they would also settle the score with the merchants who sold them the fake goods. Even if they knew that the goods were fake when they bought them, how could they let others see through the fake goods? If they didn't find trouble with you, who would they find? Wang Wan was a woman, so she had a deep understanding of this. She once bought a counterfeit goods, but she didn't do it deliberately. She went to a specialized store to buy it. Who knew that specialized stores also had fake goods? As a result, she was ridiculed by several colleagues who knew the trade. The next day, the owner of the specialized store was arrested and the store was closed. How dare you cheat the people of the special second department? Are you tired of living? Thinking of this, Wang Wan was filled with hatred. She waved her small fist and said, Yes, that's how it should be. Put some markings in the interlayer of the leather. Also, when you're making it, you can deliberately make special markings on the stitch. I don't believe that anyone can find all of these. If it really doesn't work, I'll put something on it. When the time comes, I'll say that it's a mark. I'll find the person who bought the real thing and give them something that can tell whether it's real or fake. Yes, we'll also need a certificate for everything we sell. For example, we can print a number on a corner of the sofa, and the number on the certificate will correspond to it. If they want to fake it, it will take a lot of effort. Let them fake it, let them put the fake goods in specialized stores to sell. They hate me to death. Zhang Xiaobao understood when he heard this. Wang Wan had bought fake goods before. No wonder she had such a big reaction. Li Sun memorized all these at the side. He was going to find different people to study this mark when he went back. When the time came, if someone bought a fake item, as long as they weren't too far away from him, he would go and visit them. At that time he would laugh at them and see if they dared to buy fake things next time. The three of them discussed for a while. Wang Wan and Zhang Xiaobao left, and Li Sun continued to wander around elsewhere. This matter was settled. The common people still lived a normal life. They did whatever the good officials asked them to do. No one ever objected, and no one was unwilling. They ate well and wore well. Even if they stayed at the construction site at night, it was more comfortable. They could also get a salary. This kind of life was much better than before. In fact, the common people did not have much of their own opinions. Usually they spent their time busy. Now that there was someone leading them, it saved them a lot of trouble. The seawall was still being repaired, and so was the road. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan found someone in their family. After some design, they finally came up with a plan of Luzhou. Not only did they come up with this plan, but they also came up with a military map and a game map. Could be said that they killed two birds with one stone. However, at this moment another typhoon came. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan were stunned. Should be winter now. How could there be a typhoon? It was really puzzling. Are there typhoons in winter? Wang Wan asked, a little confused. Why not? If you don't believe me, you can check it out. You'll know once you check it out. Zhang Xiaobao was also nervous. Those bamboo buildings had just been built not long ago, and the road had not been repaired yet. Similarly, the seawall would only be completed by next spring. If a typhoon came at this time, what should they do if it came ashore? He was not a deity. He did not have the ability to make the wind dissipate. He could only take some precautions and make up for it. This matter was really too scary. This was said by many old people who lived here. After several rains, Zhang Xiaobao trusted the judgment of these old people very much. The main thing was that they were too accurate. Where can I check it out? Hurry up and think of a way. What can stop the typhoon? Not to mention now, even if we were in the past, we would still be blown down by the wind, and we wouldn't be able to run away. Wang Wan was also anxious. She was most afraid of this kind of natural disaster. She was not afraid of man-made disasters. With Xiao Bao in charge, it could be easily resolved. Zhang Xiaobao took 2 deep breaths and cursed. F***K. Can't the people have a good life? Can't they be more stable? What did the old grandpas say? In 3 days there might be strong winds and rain. This weather forecast, I really hope it's nonsense. Solution. What solution? Other than mountains, there's nothing else that can stop a typhoon. The 10,000 mountains are behind. Who has the ability to move them to the front? But we can't just sit there and wait for death. We have to resist. Gather all the people. Don't fix things first. Get the fleet away. Let the people hide in the mountains. If the houses collapse, so be it. I don't believe that a typhoon will come ashore every year. If I knew this would happen, I wouldn't have built any bamboo houses. I would have made them into boulders. This won't do. Xiaobao, help me think. What's with cement? In the past I felt that it was tiring to think and experiment slowly. Now it's not the case. Hearing Zhang Xiaobao scolding, Wang Wan did not feel that he had become rude. She also wanted to scold him. This was the Gulf. Normally typhoons would not enter. If a place was hit by 2 disasters in a year, there should be some records. However, she had never seen any relevant content. This might be like what Zhang Xiaobao said. Most of the time, not everything could be recorded, especially after so many historical disturbances. Could also be that this was the case here. Who could know for sure? Zhang Xiaobao could not think of a solution. This kind of natural disaster was not something that could be done by humans. He immediately called for the servants in the house and ordered, "Get my father here immediately. My father is always at home with my mother. Why does he have to go out today? Get all the officials to write a notice for me. Otherwise it will be too late." The servants quickly did as the young master said. For the first time, Zhang Xiaobao was so helpless. He sent out orders one by one. The rest was to wait. Zhang Zhong had been at home every day to accompany Qiao. It was really annoying. The main thing was that no one complained and there was no theft. He had nothing to do. Jiang Wang clan understood Zhang Zhong's pain. Today she let him go out for a walk. It was still too early to give birth to a child. There was no need to take care of so much. Zhang Zhong went out. At this time, he was watching others repair the dam by the river. The servants in the house hurried over and said to him, "Master, something happened." The young master and the young lady specially take care of the old men and women said that there will be strong winds and heavy rain in 3 days. The young master wants you to go back and discuss it. What? Again? Is there no end to it? When Zhang Zhong heard this, he couldn't help but tremble. He shouted and rode home. At this time, he really felt that his son and daughter-in-law didn't take care of those old men and women in vain. These old men had no children. There was no one to take care of them at all. His son and daughter-in-law specially built a place for them. Not only was the house well repaired, but they also made some games that the old men could play to relieve their boredom. In addition to these, they also took good care of their diet. The rice was good rice and noodles. If the vegetables were vegetarian, they had to be picked and washed clean. They also picked some tender ones that the old men could eat. There was basically no fat in the meat, they were all thin. Just like his parents, they didn't let them eat things that were too greasy or too sweet. There was also a doctor who came to check on them every half a month. Under such care, these old men lived a good life. If this kind of thing happened to other people, many people would definitely scold their son and daughter-in-law for being stupid. But only they knew the ability of these old men. When they encountered a problem, as long as they looked for them, they would always be able to find a solution. It was like having an old man at home was like having a treasure. The old men's years of accumulation were their wealth. Every time it rained it was foggy and there were big tides, small tides, life floods, death floods and so on. The old men always knew very well. This kind of ability was not so easy to learn. Zhang Zhong's thoughts fluctuated. He quickly rode back. But when he didn't see his son and daughter-in-law, he immediately left for the old people's home. When he left, he stamped the notices to prove who made the notices. At this time, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan were accompanying their grandparents to play gateball. The two of them had enough self-restraint. There was no nervousness or anxiety on their faces. For a while they would help one another. From time to time they would help another. They would also shout. This made the old men feel like this life was like heaven. With the company of children, with the same kind of people, they didn't have to worry about anything. The only thing they had to worry about was the weather. There was an old man who was so good that he could not only see the sky, but also the earth. When he stood there in the morning or at night, it was said that he could see the low atmosphere and the dragon's aura. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan never understood this point, but they had to believe it. It was mainly because the old man could see so accurately. Moreover, at that time, even when the government was building a house or when a high-ranking official was doing something, they would also specially do this. It was said that Grandfather Mao, the founder of the country, would also ask for a lot when he was fighting a war. What was going on? They really couldn't understand it at the moment. These old men lived a good life, and naturally, they knew who was the reason. They could not do much work, so they could only pass on their experience and help to see the sky. It was precisely because of their existence that every time the weather changed, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan would know. In the process of Lu Zhou's infrastructure construction, no one was injured or killed because of the weather. This was especially true when it was cloudy and rainy. The two of them would ask someone to send specially made lightning rods to the place where they were working. When lightning struck, they would be attracted to the ground and disappear. At this time, the two of them were massaging an old man who accidentally twisted his ankle. Grandpa Hong, don't worry. This is just a minor injury. From tomorrow onwards we will adjust your diet. You will be fine by then. Don't move for the next 2 days. Just lie down like this. Someone will serve you. Wang Wan helped to massage the old man's head while Zhang Xiaobao rubbed his ankle with wine. Wang Wan said as she massaged the old man. The old man did not care at all. He chuckled and said to Wang Wan and Zhang Xiaobao, "Who will believe it? The son and daughter-in-law of a good official are massaging an old man like me. This is the blessing of 8 lifetimes. Don't be afraid. Isn't it just a strong wind? This wind is also afraid of people. A good official is here. Even if the wind comes, he will have to take a detour." The old man was comforting Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan. Although the two of them did not show any anxiety, these old men had lived for so long. How could they not know what the two children were worried about? Okay, Grandpa Hong, we don't need to worry. With Grandpa Hong and these powerful grandparents, even the strong wind will have to take a detour. But even if it takes a detour, what if it comes? In a while, someone will take us away in a car. Let's go to the mountain to see the scenery first. We won't lower ourselves to the level of the strong wind, okay? Wang Wan continued. She was afraid that these old men would not be willing to leave. This was the most worrying thing when they encountered disasters in the past. The old men and old women were very stubborn. They would rather be destroyed with the house than leave. If they could not do it, they would have to use force to solve it. Zhang Xiaobao also thought so. This nursing home was now the home of these old people. The old people were most homesick. Otherwise, before they died, they would not tell their children to send their bodies back to their hometown. Perhaps this was the difference between the Chinese and other ethnic groups. Otherwise, why were so many ancient civilizations gone? And why were there no cultural heritages, leaving only China? After Wang Wan finished speaking, Zhang Xiaobao slowed down his movements. He wanted to see the attitude of these old people. Grandpa Hong laughed, wiped the corners of his eyes with his hand and said, "Xiaobao Cuckoo, don't be afraid. Let's go. We will follow the good official to the mountain. Who doesn't want to live? Even if this nursing home is gone, I believe that when the storm is over, you will build a more beautiful house for us old people, right?" Yes, Grandpa Hong, it is like this. A person's life is the most precious wealth. If things are gone, we can build a new one. Our family is rich, we can build whatever house we want. But what about the other grandparents? Wang Wan echoed. She suddenly asked about the others. She thought that this was the only one who was willing to leave. The others will leave too. Otherwise, I will have no opponent when I am playing the game of chess in the future. I think this wind will come in from the bay and then follow the water to the Qinjiang River. Qinzhou will have more trouble than you. Grandpa Hong comforted Cuckoo. Chapter 471. No worries after safety. The tide never stops. Who will fight against the heavens? No one will lower their heads and go against the current. As soon as the notice was posted in Lu Zhou's mansion, more than 20,000 people packed up their belongings. Without any complaints or doubts, they headed up the mountain under the guidance of the people in the yamen. Only those who were reluctant to leave would look back at their newly built homes. The people's confidence came from Zhang Zhong, the good official. His family was rich, so it did not matter if his house was destroyed. As long as he was alive, he would not be afraid. When the time came, he would rebuild it. The people did not know how much money the good official had. They only knew that he had never stopped investing. The people's trust in the good official could not be any higher. Even if they did not encounter any big storms this time, it did not matter. They would just take it as a stroll in the mountain and enjoy the scenery. At least, the good official would not tease them for no reason. Zhang Xiaobao once again displayed his ability to plan. Even in the face of an irresistible natural disaster, he never admitted defeat. He used everything that could be used and took away all the resources in the province that could be taken away. The procession slowed down a little. The old people in the nursing home were well protected in the carriage. It was not only because they had a lot of experience, but also because Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan were not so snobbish. They would not give up on useless people. As long as it did not cross their bottom line, they would respect life very much. This was especially true for the lives of their own kind. If they could spare them, they would spare them. When the people set off, they had arranged for a few people to go to the surrounding provinces to deliver the news. What should be done had been done. As for whether those people would listen to them or not, they did not care. There were tides in the sea, and there were people in the sea. A procession of more than 20,000 people was not small at all. Zhang Xiaobao was still in charge of the overall planning, and Wang Wan was in charge of arranging the order of the people's procession. She was only in charge of adjusting the procession according to what she thought was the most reasonable method. She left all the logistics to Zhang Xiaobao. Zhang Xiaobao was absolutely unwilling to lose the place that he had just built. At the very least, he wanted to gain some benefits from it. According to Zhang Xiaobao's words, "We are all kites, flying in the face of adversity. The string that connects us is the concern in our hearts." This kind of tenacity was his essence. Therefore, during the process, he allocated resources while planning. He found Li Sun and told Li Sun that the construction of the wooden houses on the mountain could be brought forward. There were so many people, and under such circumstances, there was no need to pay any wages. Furthermore, he divided some medicinal herbs and better plants that could be collected at this place and this season into categories, and let the people pick them when the time came. Anyway, there was no shortage of food. Those good rice were exchanged for a lot of bad rice from other places. It was enough as long as they could eat their fill. The quality of the food would be decided after the disaster was over. In just one day, This plan was written and placed in front of Li Sun for him to see. Then, he would also have to pay for this. After all, Li Sun had a lot of money and did not invest much. He was always by the Zhang family's side, so his expenses were too little. He was not as extravagant as the other marquises. After Li Sun read this plan, he was stunned. At this point, the Zhang family was still able to think of a way to develop. Naturally, he did not know that Zhang Xiaobao was the one who came up with this plan. He only thought that it was a master of the Zhang family. This matter, how could it be? Could it be that you are still stubbornly resisting in the face of an impending disaster? If it rains heavily, it will be more dangerous on the mountain. Do you still want to carry out construction? After reading the plan, Li Sun moved closer to Zhang Xiaobao and asked, "Then what should we do? Can we only wait for death in the face of a disaster?" That is not the style of the Zhang family. The Zhang family never gives up. As long as there is a little hope, we will work hard. This money is agreed upon. Zhang family and Wang family cannot transfer so much money now, especially 110,000 yuan to build the canal. What is terrible is not the disaster, but the loss of confidence. What do we have to worry about? It is nothing more than another flood and spending more money. Does it mean that there is no danger if we don't work? We have to live like the wolves in the 100,000 mountains. If there is a wound, we will silently lick it. The lightning rods are ready. When the time comes, put a few of them at each settlement. Zhang Xiaobao finished the last short-term plan, stopped writing, and said seriously to Li Sun. He was prepared. He could bear any economic loss as long as he was still alive. Wang Wan was also beside him. She was as tenacious as Zhang Xiaobao. As long as there was life, there was hope. She added, "Don't think that it is a continuous disaster. When this disaster is over, the people will work harder to build. This is the essence of humans being superior to other animals." Li Sun finally understood the benefits of having two experts. Even the two children were like this. He always felt that there was something in these two people that he could not see through. That was, they were not afraid of any difficulties. The stronger they were, the stronger they became. They were like the fish that flew against the waves. Don't think about defeating them. Unless they died, any attack would be useless. This reminded him of the army. As long as the commander's flag did not fall, they would fight to the death. Of course, he did not know that the flags of the Zhang family and the Wang family were Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan. As long as the two of them were still alive, there was nothing to be afraid of. At this moment, Lu Shaoqing, who was supposed to be tortured to death, was given a new life. Zhang Zhong called him over and asked him to help arrange things here. After all, he was also a judge. He believed that he had the ability to do this. If he did a good job, all the debts would be written off. If he did a bad job, it would mean that he had sacrificed himself for the safety of the people of Luzhou. The words were very straightforward, but Lu Shaoqing could not feel any resentment. He felt that he could do a good job. Was it not just organizing the people? He understood. He was not a stupid person. Otherwise, how could he sit in this position? The steward of the Lu family, who often came up with ideas, had a new idea this time. He came to Lu Shaoqing's place and said to him, "Master, I've thought of something that can help us get more money." Lu Shaoqing was in a very good mood now. As long as he did a good job this time, all the debts would be written off. The salted vegetables made from the shrimp paste were a direct profit. He was very grateful for the disaster this time, but he did not dare to express it. Otherwise, if Zhang Zhong found out, it would be over. When Zhang Zhong told him about the matter, he mentioned that the four of them were gloating over the disaster last time. It was because of this that they were forced to take out all the money in the flood. Did it mean that they were not happy? If the people were not having a good time, they would not have a good time either. Therefore, when Lu Shaoqing was grateful for the disaster this time, he kept telling himself that he had to treat the people well. When he heard that the steward had another idea to make money, he pondered for a moment and said, "We can't always think about making money for ourselves. We have to think about the people at all times. After all, I'm still a judge. If the people are not living well, I'll feel sad too. Whether he was sincere or not, what he did and said was good for the people. It did not matter if he was pretending. If he could pretend for a lifetime, would it be true or not? The steward was stunned and suddenly understood the master's meaning. He quickly said, "Master, it's for the sake of the people that we thought of this method. Master, when the rain comes again, there will be a lot of mushrooms on the mountain. These mushrooms are useless. Why don't we fork out some money and let the people help us pick the mushrooms? We haven't paid off the debt this month, so we should have some money. It's enough to hire the people to work. Master, think about it. The Zhang family only makes some small vegetables. There are too few of them. The big pickles we make can't compare to the Zhang family. It won't be easy to sell them. The ones we made in the past will be given to the Zhang family. Now we'll use mushrooms to make pickles. Since the things are different, the price will naturally be different. I heard that there are many places that don't have mushrooms in winter, especially in the north. When the time comes, we can sell them to the Zhang family at a higher price. We can also find a way to transport them and sell them. Master, what do you think? Mushrooms. Good, this is good. Then you can go and get little fishy in a while. Forget about selling them yourself. Sell them to the Zhang family. It's fine even if you don't raise the price, as long as Zhang Zhong doesn't scheme against me. Lu Shaoqing's eyes lit up. He felt that this was a good idea. His family hadn't paid off the debt this month, so he had some money. It wouldn't cost too much to hire someone to pick mushrooms. This way the people would be better and he would be better. The steward would naturally reward him and give him the little fishy from a few days ago. Lu Shaoqing thought that the steward would be very happy. Who knew that when the steward heard about little fishy, he shook his head vigorously and begged, "Master, I already have a wife at home." "That's enough. One is enough. Otherwise I can't stand it." Master, change something else. For example, that silver hairpin. Give me one, and I'll go back and wear it for my wife. The steward didn't have a heart of stone. Ever since little fishy left and he ate the zhajiang noodles, he finally understood. It was fine for a beautiful woman like little fishy to be carefree outside, but he definitely couldn't bring her home. Otherwise, she would only cause trouble for him. That kind of woman could only die in a single night and couldn't be his wife. When he was at his lowest, that fat and ugly wife kept giving him ideas, encouraging him, and even cooking for him. This time the idea was also thought of by his family members. If he brought little fishy back, if his current wife couldn't stand it and left, then he wouldn't just lose a bowl of noodles. Chapter 472. For a moment, Lu Shaoqing couldn't figure out what was wrong with this manager. Since he didn't want little fishy, then forget it. He could use her to rope in others. This was a good idea. Mushrooms and pickled vegetables were rarely made by ordinary people. However, for a place where mushrooms were not always available, the price would not be cheap. The two of them discussed for a while and finally decided on this matter. When they reached the mountain, they would let the people help them pick the mushrooms. As long as they didn't owe them money, they could slightly change their status in the hearts of the people. Lu Shaoqing thought so. In fact, he didn't know how much the people trusted the good official Zhang Zhong. Even if he changed, the people would still think that it was the good official's ability. The two of them didn't talk loudly, but it was still heard by the people next to them. This person found an opportunity to run to a person from the inner courtyard of the Zhang family, and told the person what the two of them said. The person from the inner courtyard immediately went to look for the little master. When he found the little master, he heard the conversation between the little master and the little marquis. The person from the inner courtyard felt that he didn't need to come here again. Yes, how could the little master and the little lady not think of something that others could think of? Not only did they think of that method, but they even said who could use it. This matter is settled. There are dozens of wild things here. There are mushrooms, wood ears, and some ferns. If the locals don't know, tell them. We can't let everyone build a small bridge and a wooden house. Some people can only pick wild vegetables. This kind of thing, if the Lu family isn't so stupid, they should know. Tell them how to deal with the mushrooms. Don't stupidly use shrimp sauce to pickle them. Some things can be poisonous. There are also some common wild vegetables on the mountain. Use shrimp sauce to pickle them. Tell them that they can pay more. When the person from the inner courtyard came, he heard the little master giving instructions to another person who was also from the inner courtyard. He was a little absent-minded and finally recovered. Fortunately, he already knew that the little master and the little lady were immortals, so he was very immune. As soon as Zhang Xiaobao finished speaking, he saw the people from the inner courtyard rushing over. He looked at them inquisitively. "It's all right, young master. You and your wife can continue with your work. Actually, I heard someone say that Lu Shaoqing's family is going to the mountains to hire people to pick mushrooms and then make salted vegetables. That's why I came over to inform you." This person from the inner courtyard felt that he had made a wasted trip. The little young master had already planned everything out. What else did the little young master not know? Li Sun at the side was shocked. He looked at Zhang Xiaobao and didn't know what to say. Only Wang Wan knew that this was normal. Zhang Xiaobao had been scheming against the four of them and had obtained a lot of information. From this information, she could roughly analyze the situation. Otherwise, he wouldn't have deceived so many people. Zhang Xiaobao appeared very natural. He nodded and said, "Got it." He continued to instruct the person who had just listened to the instructions. "Tell Lu Shaoqing that he can pick mushrooms and so on, but he is not allowed to casually cut down trees. Some trees are very valuable and can be used to make medicine. Also, he is not allowed to let people kill the animals here. We are in charge of what animals to catch, especially the peacocks." After the two people from the inner courtyard left, Zhang Xiaobao said to Wang Wan again, "The green feathers in this place are peacocks' feathers. Many people kill them to get such things. It's purely stupid. Even wolves can be turned into dogs and raised, let alone peacocks. Can't they just raise them here? It's not like eating meat depends on the taste. Feather feels about the same. Some farmed ones look better than wild ones." Zhang Xiaobao said this because the two puppies had grown up a little. In the end, Wang Wan found that they were not dogs but wolves. To be precise, they were wolfhounds. After knowing this, Wang Wan was happy for several days. Such dogs might not be suitable to be used as rescue dogs, but it was definitely not a problem to use them as police dogs. Wang Wan was ready to start training the wolfhounds' wild nature. The best way to train them was to have a pack of wolves that could carry them, but this was impossible. The only way was to wait for the puppies to grow up a little and let them catch live things to eat. They also had to listen to their owners. This matter was not simple at all. Even though Wang Wan had learned a little before, she knew that many people's dogs would bite their owners. Of course, if such a dog was a puppy, it would be fine as a pet dog and the owner would forgive it. However, in some villages, as long as a dog used to guard the house, as long as it made a move to attack its owner, it would not be able to live. The reason was very simple. Dogs were not like cats. Cats did not have class. When you raised a cat, the cat would also think that it was raising you and would leave as it wished. Dogs, on the other hand, were able to find their own place. Once the dog guarding the house attacked its owner, it meant that its class status had changed. No village owner would keep it. Betraying the owner was the most intolerable thing. Therefore, these two wolfhounds, Wang Wan needed to spend more effort to train them. She needed to stabilize their class status, develop a sense of intimacy, and train their fighting skills. Wang Wan was actually very envious of those soldiers who raised dogs. When their dogs were injured beyond treatment, they would strangle the dogs themselves to reduce the dog's pain. The dogs would not resist at all. Wang Wan had seen it with her own eyes twice. She felt that it was not a dog but a real soldier. When they felt that they could not hold on during the mission, they would ask their teammates to give them a quick death. Because of those experiences, Wang Wan decided to train these two little guys to become the most powerful dogs. With more than 20,000 people, It was impossible for them to move quickly. Even if there were roads that had been repaired, some people had to push carts and some had to drive livestock. The elderly were better off as they had special carts to pull them. There were also those insensible children who would cry loudly when they changed places. Their voices were ear-piercing. After walking for 2 days, as expected, white clouds began to appear on the horizon. After walking for another half a day, those white clouds turned into dark clouds. More and more of them gathered, and a fierce wind started to blow. If there were no white clouds from before, and dark clouds came out directly, with such a strong wind, it might not have rained. However, with the gathering of white clouds, the rain would definitely fall. There was no luck. Lightning began to appear in the sky, followed by the deafening sound of thunder. Some people knelt on the ground and kowtowed to the sky. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan's expressions were gloomy. The interval between the lightning and thunder was a little too long, and the thunder was too loud. This meant that the distance was far, and there were still many positive and negative electrons. The rain would not be light. Zhang Xiaobao looked up at the sky and hurriedly ordered the people beside him. Pass down the order. Tell the people who are carrying the lightning rods to put them flat and carry them. The team is not allowed to go near the trees. Those who have iron, copper, and silver hairpins on their heads take them down and stick them in with wooden sticks. At this moment, a gust of wind continued to blow from the mountain, while another gust of wind came from the sea. It was rare for the two winds to collide. At the very least, it was rare in this terrain. When the winds collided, they began to swirl and sweep the ground. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan knew that if the rice seedlings were finished and there was a heavy rain, they would not be able to survive. This storm was different from the one in Sanshui County. That kind of wind had a buffer. It would pause for a moment when it blew, giving the rice seedlings time to recover. At this moment, the whirlwind was blowing back and forth, and the rain was even stronger. The rice seedlings would not be able to survive. If I had known this would happen, I would have planted the reeds. Now they've grown much taller. As long as the roots aren't pulled out, I can soak them in the water. Perhaps I'll be able to eat the reeds when I come back. At this moment, Zhang Xiaobao was actually calculating the value of the reeds. Reeds are good stuff. Wang Wan nudged Zhang Xiaobao. The rain is coming. Lu Zhou isn't afraid of heavy rain, but he's afraid of typhoons. However, we're still in a hurry. What if it rains? Can you guarantee that the typhoon won't come? You're planting reeds just to eat the reeds. You can even use them to weave mats, but they're far inferior to rice seedlings. Zhang Xiaobao was riding on the horse. When Wang Wan nudged him, he tilted to the side and slowly righted himself. He was not afraid of being pushed down. Wang Wan also knew that this height was nothing to Zhang Xiaobao. He could even do some actions with the help of the push, such as voluntarily dismounting from the horse and turning around in the air. Zhang Xiaobao, who was walking over, comforted the horse and stroked its brown fur. Don't be afraid. I won't fall. What's wrong with planting reeds? I've decided. After this incident, I'll make a large swamp and find a stable home for the crocodiles. There are freshwater crocodiles and saltwater crocodiles. I'm going to make a large swamp with reeds. I'll also raise more fish there. It's closer to the sea. If the crocodiles are willing to come, they can come. I'll also put some ducks there to provide food for the crocodiles. That's not bad. This way we can protect the wildlife. Wang Wan felt that it was indeed good to give the crocodiles a living environment. Protect what wildlife? There are many crocodiles now. You want to kill them all with our methods. Dream on. I just want to eat some crocodile meat and get some crocodile skin to make something. It's said that the serums of these crocodiles can cure diseases. I can't make that, but I can make the bones and teeth of the crocodile into decorations. Zhang Xiaobao finally told her his plan, which was to raise and kill crocodiles. Wang Wan frowned. You're too cruel. You want to kill crocodiles just to make money. Then you can directly become a plant in the future and live through photosynthesis. Plants also have life. A flower, a world, a grass, a heaven. Then the things in the flowers and grass will have a lot of life. You can't even eat a green onion. You've killed too many creatures. Zhang Xiaobao didn't feel that there was anything wrong with killing crocodiles. He ate a lot of chickens, ducks and geese. He also killed pigs and cows. Chapter 473. More than 20,000 civilians had finally made it to the mountain. The happiest person was Li Sun. He could finally carry out his plan. With the protection provided by the guards, the civilians were divided into sections and started building temporary houses. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan did not know if the heavy rain would cause a flood. They could only take precautions. Lu Zhou's population was small, and they did not have to worry about being held accountable. It would not matter even if there was no flood in the end. This is the best time. We can arrange the civilians as we please in our own place. Even if we do something wrong, as long as we don't leave our own place, we don't have to worry about being held accountable. With the support of the civilians, it's useless even if someone tries to impeach us, Wang Wan said emotionally when she saw the civilians starting to work without any complaints. Zhang Xiaobao understood this as well. Sometimes it was not that the officials did not want to take precautions, but they did not dare to. If nothing happened after they took action, who would be responsible for wasting manpower and resources? Since the preparations were done well, the civilians were able to work with ease. One by one, the lightning rods were set up when the lightning stopped or when they were far away. With this, they did not have to worry about being struck by lightning while they were in the forest. While the civilians were working and Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan were waiting, the typhoon in the sea finally came. Just as the old man had said, the strong wind did not reach Lu Zhou's land. Through his 1,000-miles eye, he could vaguely see that the color of the sky was different from here. The strong wind rushed into the bay. Just as the old man had predicted, it was moving along the bay. I wonder if the pier will be damaged this time. It seems like we really need to repair it and build a sturdy one, Zhang Xiaobao said helplessly when he found out that the strong wind had rushed into the bay. I don't think there'll be any problems. The new pier is built with high-quality wood. Anyway, our ships have avoided the storm. Let's just wait. When the strong wind passes and the rain stops, the civilians will be able to leave the mountain. However, judging from Li Sun's reaction, it seems like he wants the civilians to stay on the mountain for a few more days. The people here were fine, but the people who came down from the Qin River were in trouble. The typhoon was blowing and the waves were getting higher and higher. The trees nearby were all blown down. Occasionally, there would be waterspouts that sucked up some water, sand, stones, fish, and prawns before landing elsewhere. Chao Harue and the other two were not in a hurry. They wanted to wait for the Tang, governor of Ning, to send the memorial to the capital as soon as possible. They wanted to delay it as long as possible. It would be even better if they could delay it for a month. With the fast horses at the military station, Zhang Zhong might be able to get the news. The three of them sat on the boat. When the weather changed, they did not think much of it and thought that it would not affect them. However, when a fish landed on the boat, the three of them knew that something bad was going to happen even without the people on the boat saying anything. This should be the waterspout that was brought up by the strong wind. The sky was still gloomy, and the scenery in front of them was getting blurrier and blurrier. It was daytime, but it felt like it was nighttime. Not good, a hurricane is coming. Quick, get the boat to the shore. Chao Harue was holding the fish in his hand. He did not feel happy about the extra reward. He anxiously shouted at the boatman on the boat. In fact, the boatman did not need anyone to say anything. They were already trying their best to get the boat to the shore. It was not that the boatmen were knowledgeable. These boatmen had never seen a hurricane before. They just felt that the wind was too strong. As soon as the boat reached the shore, Chao Harue and the other two jumped off first. They knew very well how powerful this hurricane was. If they were not careful, they would lose their lives. Fortunately, they were surrounded by mountains. It was safer to escape into the mountains. When the boatmen saw the three of them running off anxiously, they did not know what was going on. They continued to stabilize the boat. Fortunately, they knew to lower the sail and did not foolishly hang there. "What are you doing? Run. Don't stay on the boat. You will die. Come down quickly. Take everything you can carry, especially food. Follow us." Fan Jianxi saw that the people on the boat were still staring at the three of them. He slapped his forehead and was very worried. He shouted at the people on the boat. If these people were not from the Ning family, they would not care. "Master Fan, will the wind be very strong? If we run, what will happen to the boat?" One of the people on the boat was still wondering if the boat could be damaged. After all, a boat with people and a boat without people were different. Fan Jianxi had a murderous intent. He stomped his feet and looked at the sky. He continued to shout, "Who cares about the boat? Even if you stay on the boat, it is useless. If you want to die with the boat, don't come down. We don't care. Run." After that, the three of them did not care about what the people on the boat were going to do. They looked around, held hands, and began to run. The three of them were not familiar with this place, and they could not see the surrounding scenery if they were a little further away. However, it did not affect the three of them to find a place to hide. They had been here for a long time, so they were very familiar with hurricanes. There were big and small hurricanes. Some would circle around the sea and then disappear. Some would rush to the land and disappear. Some would stay for a few days. It seemed that the one they encountered this time was not small. Even the sky was changing. The three of them put the letter written by Tang, governor of Ning, in the safest place. They also wrapped the letter with a few layers of oil paper. When they got off the boat, they also brought some food. The rest was up to fate. The boatmen on the boat had always been on the other side of the Yellow River, so they could not understand the power of this hurricane. However, when they saw the three local people so frightened, they thought about it and followed them. The boat could only be left here for now. They did not forget to bring more food, so they would not starve to death if they hid here for too long. A group of people followed closely behind Fan Jianxi and the other two. Finally, they found a valley. Fan Jianxi wiped the water off his face. He did not care if the ground was wet or not. He sat down and gasped for breath. When another fish fell near him, his face became even worse. "Master Fan, I don't know when this hurricane will pass. Will it be fine if we stay here?" The person in charge of the boat was not used to this kind of weather. The falling water was cold and bitter. Although it was not cold in the winter, being soaked through would cause the body to lose heat faster. The person in charge knew that the three adults should be able to understand, so he came forward and asked. The other boatmen were also waiting for Fan Jianxi's answer. Fan Jianxi shook his head and said worriedly, "I don't know when it will pass. Taste the rain. In addition to the rain from the sky, there is also the water from the sea. The fish were all brought here. In short, the wind is not weak. Maybe it will run to another place after a while, or maybe it will go back and forth in this place. There is no way to know what the wind will do. Maybe it will go back and forth after a while. Even if we hide here, it will not be safe. Don't think that this valley will be fine. There is a big river next to it. The wind may suck up the water in the river and then fall here. Even if we are not blown away by the wind, we will be drowned." As Fan Jianxi said this, he wondered if the wind was blowing from Lu Zhou's capital. He wanted to see Zhang Zhong or his family fall from the sky and land next to him. That would be the best way to vent his anger. It would be even better if the wind swept the whole Lu Zhou. As he thought about it, Fan Jianxi laughed. Chao Harue did not understand when he saw him laughing. He asked in a low voice, "Brother Fan, why are you laughing? Did you see that the wind is going to pass soon? I only know that some of the old people here can see it. Did you learn something, Brother Fan?" "What did I learn?" "I was thinking that if the wind swept past Lu Zhou's side before it reached here, it would be over for Lu Zhou. Let's see if Zhang Zhong still has the ability to protect the people. The more chaotic Lu Zhou is, the better it is for us," Fan Jianxi said softly. He could not let the boatman hear this. Otherwise it would be troublesome. When Chao Harue heard this, he perked up. He nodded and said, "That's right. Zhang Zhong has caused us a lot of trouble. We should let him suffer more." Zhang Huanshi was overjoyed when she heard this. The three of them had turned their hatred to everyone in Luzhou. When they encountered a disaster, they did not care if the people were in danger. Instead, they were happy. The person in charge of the ship did not know what the three of them were thinking. Otherwise, he would have been frightened. They did not know about typhoons, so they could only follow the three of them and hope to avoid it. Naturally, they were not particularly afraid. After all, they had never encountered one before. After listening to Fan Jianxi, they stood there and thought for a moment. Then they asked, "Lord Fan, is it because the wind is getting stronger? When we arrive here, we should watch how the wind blows and avoid it, right?" "Avoid it? Where should we avoid it? Don't think that we'll be fine just because we're protected by the mountains. If we encounter a waterspout, we'll be swept up into the sky. What's the point of landing? Let's avoid it for as long as we can. We can't outrun the wind." Fan Jianxi was still thinking about the disaster at Luzhou's capital. Initially, he was happy. However, when he heard the person in charge's words, he was worried again. It was not safe here. If they made a mistake, they might lose their lives. However, the mountains were not as strong as they were outside. If they ran to the river, they might lose their lives. The group was trapped here. The wind continued to blow up along the Qin River. Behind them, there was still a smaller wind blowing, but this smaller wind was relative. Chapter 474. The people on Chao Harue's side were swept away by the typhoon. Fortunately, the big one continued to move up the river. They could not move because there was still a small one blowing around them. On Luzhou's side of the mountain, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan listened to the report from their subordinates. They were relieved to know that the wind did not blow the houses here. As long as the big one passed, there would be no problem. The rain seemed to have something to do with the typhoon, but it also seemed to have nothing to do with it. It was still raining. In fact, they could go back at this time. However, the two of them were worried that the wind would blow back again. After thinking about it, they went to the old people's side to ask about the situation. The old people were well arranged. They did not need to do any work at all. Under the shed, they and some of the children could enjoy the treatment of a bed. Needless to say, the children were everyone's hope. The old people did not care what others thought of them. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan had to respect them. Whether they lived their lives to do things for their families or to help repair bridges and roads, as long as they worked, they would definitely contribute to the society. In the process of paying the rent, they were actually contributing to the country. They could not be old without someone to take care of them. Even if they did not know a word, even if they were stubborn, some of the rent they paid would be used for disaster relief and road repair. Who dared to say that they did not get any benefits? At least, they could live a stable life because the country used the money to form an army to protect them. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan had planned to set up a special fund to settle some old people who could not do work. It was not pity but respect. When they respected the old, they also respected history and heritage. At the same time, they also respected themselves. Luzhou's old people indeed enjoyed a blessing that they had never thought of before. They had a shed to shelter them from the rain and a bed under them. They did not have to worry about catching a cold. There were also people who specially prepared several meals for them a day. When one was old, one had to eat less and eat more. They were the group of people who were taken care of the most. No matter when they were hungry, they could ask someone to cook for them. As long as they took out the menu, the person in charge of cooking would introduce them to them. However, if there were some things that couldn't be eaten, they would definitely not cook for them. Usually, everyone could even drink some wine a day. Because of this, the elders treated the officials as their own sons. They even felt closer to them than their own sons and daughters. Zhang Xiaobao and Cuckoo naturally became their grandson and granddaughter in their hearts. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan didn't have much time, so it was impossible for them to accompany the elderly every day. However, there were many children here. Wang Wan would teach these children how to dance, draw, sing, and so on. After teaching them enough, she would let them take turns to play with the elderly in the nursing home. Even if their drawings were not beautiful, their singing was out of tune, their dancing was not beautiful, and there were always repetitions, the elderly did not hesitate to exaggerate. These elderly were all lonely old people who had no one to take care of them. Why would they care about good or bad when they could enjoy the happiness of a family? At this time, when Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan came over, the elderly showed a kind smile. The more they looked at the two sensible children, the more they liked them. Grandma Li, don't move. Your leg is not feeling well, and it's raining. It's painful to walk. Don't move. Xiaobao and I are coming. As soon as Wang Wan and Zhang Xiaobao appeared, an elderly lady came down from the couch with something in her hand to welcome them. Wang Wan and Zhang Xiaobao quickly sped up and ran to the elderly lady, one on the left and one on the right. This was not an act. Wang Wan's family had always been like this. The rules in her family had always been like this. Children must learn to be filial. Although the family began to appear after the liberation, the bigger the family, the more importance it attached to filial piety. Zhang Xiaobao had a good grandfather who taught him what it meant to respect the old and love the young. This made Wang Wan feel very magical. Generally, people like Zhang Xiaobao did not receive much help from society since they were young. Usually, they would complain about society. However, he was an exception. His original idea of making money was to repay society. Of course, many people did not agree with his way of doing things, but those orphanages were indeed built, and the roads in those mountainous areas were indeed built. While some people wanted to kill him, there were also many people who wanted him to live a long life. The old lady didn't know what the two children were like in the past. She only knew that she was good to these lonely old people, and that was enough. She pulled the two of them back to the couch, one in each hand. She even used her pinky finger to hold a bag on the hand that was holding Wang Wan. Come, this is the honey money I prepared for you too. It has been prepared for more than a month. You can eat it today. The elderly lady sat on the couch and opened the bag in her hand. Inside was the honey money wrapped in oil paper. It was specially made for Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan. Although she was old and could not do much work, it was not a problem for her to make some honey money. Eat it quickly. Your Grandma Li's honey money is the best. In the whole county, your Grandma Li's honey money was the best. Unfortunately, she stopped making it later. Old Hong said next to her. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan did not hesitate. They each took a piece of honey money and put it in their mouth. They also licked their fingers and nodded to show that it was delicious. It was indeed delicious, but it was too sweet. The two of them did not dare to eat too much. Granny Li, is your leg still hurting that badly? Let Xiaobao rub it for you. Wang Wan smacked her lips and said to the elderly lady. The elderly lady moved for a while, nodded and then shook her head. It still hurts a little, but it is not like before. Every day, someone will help me rub it with medicinal wine. When the weather is good, there is no problem at all. Now it is cloudy and rainy, so it is a little uncomfortable. As the elderly lady spoke, she touched Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan's heads with her hand. Her face was full of smiles. In the past, when she was in pain, she could not sleep at night. Since she came to the nursing home, with a prescription given by the Zhang family and the people who specially rub it, as long as the weather did not change too much, she would be fine. Wang Wan went over and pressed it. She covered her knee with her small hand, thought for a while and said, In a while, I will ask someone to blow bubbles into hot water. Put it here, and it will not be so uncomfortable. There is no way to cure this disease. We can only take care of it. Grandpa Hong, is your ankle better? Seems that you need to eat more fish bones and fish liver. I will ask someone to use that as the base to cook a pot for you. The reason why old Hong could sprain his ankle was that he lacked calcium. There was no calcium tablet here, so he could only adjust it with diet. There were some vitamins in the internal organs of fish. Eating some crispy fish bones could replenish some calcium. Otherwise, if he only ate bones, the human body would absorb too little calcium. Okay, I will listen to you too. We old people have accumulated good karma in our previous lives. Otherwise, how could we meet people like you? Old Hong looked at Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan and said excitedly. He, who had no children, was already prepared to die, especially when he encountered the flood. At that time, his body was already very weak. He didn't expect that after the flood, nothing would happen to him. Instead, he found himself in a good place, which was a nursing home. He ate well, wore good clothes, slept comfortably, and even had someone to play with. His body and bones were gradually getting better. In addition, there were children to play with him every day. He did not want to die. He was ready to live for a few more years and enjoy a good life. The other old people also came to talk to the two children. In their hearts, the two children were their family. No one could hurt them. After talking for a while, Zhang Xiaobao asked about the business. Grandpa Wang, how long do you think the rain will last? Will the wind come back after one round? There is still a lot of work to do. We can't always hide in the mountain. The old man, who was called Grandpa Wang by Zhang Xiaobao, was blind in one eye. However, his only eye was very sharp. He could see the chi of the earth. In the past, he had helped to find the silver mine. No one knew how he saw it. Anyway, every day was divided into several periods. He looked at a certain place and finally knew whether there was a mine or not. It was a very powerful ability. In addition to looking at the mine, he could also see the chi of the earth. If there was more chi of the earth, it would flourish. If there was less chi of the earth, it would fail. Through this, he could predict the weather. With the help of the other old people, he could predict the weather very accurately. Grandpa Wang also knew that everyone was hiding in the mountain. No one was working in the province. These few days, he had been thinking about this matter with the other old people. At this time, when he heard Zhang Xiaobao ask, he said, "The wind will not come, but the rain will only stop after 5 or 6 days. These few days it will be very heavy. We have to prepare early." "Thank you, Grandpa Wang. In a while, I will go back and tell my father to protect everyone. I will definitely not let anyone get into trouble. In that case, we will be washed again next time. Sigh. This year it has not been stable." Zhang Xiaobao did not doubt the old man's words. He thanked Grandpa Wang while complaining about the bad weather. Old man Wang chuckled and said, "Don't worry about the house being washed away. It's just a little bit of land that will be washed away. The main thing is that the 2 rivers were dug. The water that flows from the surroundings and the water from the mountains will flow along the rivers. It's much better than before. This is all thanks to the good officials." Hearing Old Man Wang's words, Old Man Hong also sighed with emotion. "Yes, without such a good official, let alone this time, we would have had to give up the last time. This time we have 2 big rivers. Even if there is more water, we are not afraid of it. It's a pity that we can't help much. If I were 10 years younger, I would also help. Xiaobao, you won't blame us, right? We can't do anything to help. We can only eat and drink. We don't know when you will be able to earn back the money your family spent this year. How about this? This year's harvest is a little less, but the rice is good. We can exchange some poor rice from other places and pay some rent. We will only pay to your family, not to the government." The other old people also agreed. They had seen the money the Zhang family spent time and time again. Of course, they did not know that the Zhang family had already made up for this loss. With so many local specialties and things that could be used as tributes, not only did the Zhang family not lose money, but they also made money. Especially those things that had not been sold, they would make more money in the future. This was the advantage of logistics and trade. The old people who did not know about these things felt that the Zhang family had lost money and wanted to find a way to compensate them. Zhang Xiaobao and the others wanted to do so. They shook their heads hard and said, No, my family didn't lose money. Those things that we exchanged were shipped to other places and we made a lot of money. My family is rich, so we don't need to worry about this. Even if we lose money every year, my family can still afford it." Zhang Xiaobao's words were very honest and did not hide anything. He wanted to reassure everyone. Otherwise, they would always think that this matter would affect their health. For Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan, problems that could be solved with money were not problems. The main thing was that they had money. Wang Wan saw that these old people's eyes were full of doubts. She had no choice but to explain some things in a way that they could understand, including how to operate and buy and sell. The old people did not know such profound things before. After listening to Wang Wan's words, they were all stunned. They had never thought that the Zhang family still had a way to make money during the disaster. However, they were not jealous and did not think that there was anything wrong with what the Zhang family had done. After hearing this, old Madame Li said, "Now we are relieved. Turns out that money can be earned in this way. Yes, the family of a good official can't lose money. We have to earn more. The more money we earn, the more money we can take out in the future. The river here has been repaired, and the seaside dikes have been built. Those houses are also good. It's enough that we have a nursing home to live in. Now other people have good houses. In the past, we couldn't get such a good house and yard even after several lifetimes. It's a pity that such a good official will leave one day. I don't know what will happen to the official who comes back." Old Madame Li's words made the other old people silent. They also thought of this matter. Now they were living well. Not only did they have a stable place, but others also had a new home. The school was still under construction. When the time came, the children could go to school. There were also those medical centers. Now they did not need to spend money to see patients, and they only needed to buy medicine. In the future, they would only charge less for medicine. This was all because there was a good official. If the good official left and a new official came, it would be easy to handle. If it was someone like the one surnamed Shi, it would be easy to handle. He did not care about anything and would do what he did here. But if a powerful official came, wouldn't he be jealous of this place and take some of the benefits that were originally in his hands? How were they going to continue living like this? They wanted to prevent the good official from leaving, but that would delay the good official's future. Everyone fell into hesitation. "Look, others are worried, right? Persuade them." Wang Wan touched Zhang Xiaobao and said softly. Zhang Xiaobao nodded. He had already thought about what would happen after his father left. He was not worried about the official who would take over. He said to the group of old people, "Grandpa, don't worry. Grandpa and Grandma, don't be afraid. No one can make things worse here. Even if my father goes to other places, things will still be done as they were when my father was here. When my father leaves, it will be impossible for the military and politics to be integrated. The provincial governor will be in charge of it, and there will be a military secretary. People below would also be chosen. When the time came, if the new provincial governor could follow the rules, then nothing would happen. He would accumulate enough political merit and be promoted. If he dared to make a move against the common people, dared to make a move against the infrastructure, then he would be directly made a figurehead. Those chambers of commerce here are all our families. When the time comes, he will have no money and no people. He can only watch helplessly. If he wants to write a memorial to the imperial court to change the people here, then there is no need to worry. As long as he writes it, the one who will be replaced is him. As long as the commercial activities here are stopped for 2 months and then find someone to impeach him, he will be finished." Zhang Xiaobao told a part of the arrangement. In fact, he had other arrangements, but he could not reveal them too early. Wang Wan also knew that Zhang Xiaobao would not do things so simply. If that was the case, would he still be Zhang Xiaobao? If things were not handled well, the backup plan would be fatal. However, now that Zhang Xiaobao did not say, she did not want to get to the bottom of it. The more she knew, the more tired she felt. The old men and women did not know so much. As long as they knew that the days in the future would be as good as when the great official was still alive, they were happy. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan accompanied these old people and chatted for a while. When they saw that it was almost time for lunch, they left. They still carried the bag of honey money, ready to go back and let the family have a taste. It was really well done. The rain was still falling. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan knew that they would not be able to go back these few days. If they did not come out, they might be able to let the people stay below. Since they had come up, what if they were washed away by the flood behind them when they walked back in the heavy rain? Moreover, the people below could only hide in their homes and put the things in their homes on the wooden rafts, ready to be rowed out at any time when there was a flood and connect with the other wooden rafts to form a piece of land. This was already a tradition that the commoners were prepared to carry on. Every family had a wooden raft. In the future, when there was a flood just like before, they would bring everything that they could carry. Then, everyone would work together in an organized manner. Now that they had all run up the mountain, the people could do other work here in the rain. Some were picking vegetables, some were starting to build wooden houses, and some were repairing bridges and making boats in places with pools in the mountains. There was no wage for this. It was considered voluntary work. After all, in the future, a tourism and resource development group would be established. When the time came, the group would take out a part of the profits and use it to benefit the local people. Now, the people were working for themselves and their descendants. The people were very serious about their work. Anyway, there was nothing else to do now. They were not feeling well all day long, and people who were used to working were like this. Now that the rain had not stopped, it was more difficult to pick mushrooms, and there were not many of them. However, the vegetables grew very quickly. A lot of ferns were picked, and they were all used by Zhang Xiaobao to make pickles. Although these ferns could cause cancer, the probability was too small. If it was really calculated, breathing could cause cancer. The main thing was that they tasted good, and they could also supplement the other nutrients the body needed. They could not deny everything just because one aspect was not good. While they were busy, Chao Harue and the group were also busy thinking of ways to bring down the trees. They were not thinking of building wooden houses, but they were preparing to set up wooden rafts. What kind of weather is this? Not only is the wind not enough, but it is also raining heavily. Now this small hill is going to be submerged. Hurry up, do it quickly, or else no one will be able to leave alive. Chao Harue stood at the side in charge of commanding. With his physique he could not do it. The others were trying their best to tie the broken trees together. They did not bring any saws or other tools, only a few small axes. It would be very tiring to use these axes to cut the trees. They directly gave up on the trees that were too thick, and only cut down the trees that were not too thick or thin. It was convenient to cut down the thin trees, but it was useless. The people on this ship, including Chao Harue and the other two, only added up to 58 people. The original shipwright was 55 people, and these people needed to make 10 wooden rafts. It was not that the wooden rafts were not good, but that the wood was wet. In the water without people standing, only half of the raft would be exposed. If people stood, the whole raft would be in the water, and it was the same below the people's calves. It was not a problem for 5 or 6 people to stand on the raft, but once there were more people, there would be no need for the water to flush them in. The 55 shipwrights were already very hard, but Chao Harue and the other two still felt that it was too slow. The 3 of them were actually a little regretful now. Firstly, they regretted coming back. Secondly, they felt that when they were looking for a place just now, it would be safer now if they didn't look for that valley. That valley was good for hiding from the wind, but that place was really too low. All the water from other places gathered there. As a result, they could only continue to go to higher places. When they went up, the wind blew so hard that they could not stand. They bent their legs, bent their waists, and lowered their heads, barely able to withstand the wind. When the wind passed, they began to get busy. Seeing that the water from other places was gradually rising, if they did not hurry up and set up the wooden rafts, they would all die here. The person in charge of the ship also helped. After setting up 10 wooden rafts, everyone felt a little more relaxed. However, Chao Harue and the other two were still a little worried, so they asked people to continue. They thought of the land connected by wooden rafts during the last flood, and felt that it was very useful. This time they also wanted to try it. Master Chao, do you think these wooden rafts are enough? Now I know how strong the wind is. It is a pity that we did not prepare enough. If I had known, I would have brought some wood from the ship. If those wood were dry, We would not be afraid of being soaked. Master Chow, do you know where to go next? Chapter 475. Chow Harue also didn't know what to do. Although the three of them had stayed here for a few years, they had never encountered such a strong wind. Today's wind seemed to be completely different from before. Just as he was thinking about where to go, he heard the person in charge's question. After pondering for a while, he said, "Find a higher mountain. This place won't do. I estimate that we will be submerged in less than an hour. We must prepare food. Otherwise we will starve to death before we drown." After saying this, Chow Harue still didn't feel safe. He also knew that the higher they stood, the more likely they would be struck by lightning in such weather. However, he really had no other choice. If they didn't go to higher places and just waited here, they would drown. There was another option that he didn't want. That was to not go to higher places and just stay in the water. It would be best if they went with the current. However, this method was very worrisome. First, the wind would make the waves bigger, and then the wooden raft would be overturned. Second, it was hard to control the speed. If they went with the current, they would enter the sea. The sea didn't look so calm now. If they wanted to control the speed, they would have to walk close to the shore. In other words, they would enter the Chin River. The problem was that the water in that place was very turbulent. Once they entered it, they would be finished. Not only him, but Fan Jianxi also thought the same. He was afraid that the wooden raft would hit something and break apart after entering the water. After all, when they came out, the boatman only brought some rope. Now that they didn't have any rope and there was no time to rivet, they could only use some branches as rope. Using branches to tie the wooden raft, it didn't take much to know what would happen if it hit something. Now, he could only hope that the branches were strong enough. At the same time, he hoped that the wind would pass quickly and the rain would stop quickly. Seeing that the person in charge had finished asking, he added, "Our wooden raft can't hold people for too long in the water. It will be easier to find a higher mountain. We don't have to worry about thunder. If we don't stand on top of the mountain, we can't see where there is a mountain. Do you remember when you came here? Do you know which mountain is the tallest in this area? Also, let's see if we have enough time. If we do, we'll continue to make more wooden rafts. When the time comes, we'll put 2 rafts together. That way, we'll be able to get out of the water more." This was a good idea. Many people would add a few more layers of wood at such a time. Since a layer of wood could easily enter the water, a few more layers would make it safer. However, time waited for no one. Another gust of wind blew over, bringing the waves directly to everyone's feet. When the wave passed, the water also receded. However, this situation made everyone realize that they could not hold on for much longer. This hill was really too short. The most worrisome thing was that this valley was where the water from other places gathered. The strongest wind had left here and went up along the river. However, the wind behind it was not weak either. It blew some trees up by the roots, which made Fan Jianxi and the others even more worried. Hurry up. Tie whatever you can. Don't worry about other things for now. Put the things we took from the boat on the wooden raft. When the time comes, we still need to find something to make an oar. Otherwise, if we continue to follow the current, we will be washed into the river. That place won't be as easy as it is now. Perhaps we will hit the shore and the wooden raft will break easily." Fan Jianxi rubbed his hands and said anxiously. The others also knew the situation. Fortunately, although they did not know how strong the wind was, it was very easy for them to make a wooden raft. They tied the rafts with branches one by one. Soon 9 2-layer wooden rafts were made. There was no time to tie the remaining pieces of wood, so they could only choose to give up. Although Fan Jianxi and the others knew about the wind here, they did not know how to make a wooden raft and how to row. Seeing that there were still pieces of wood, they immediately ordered people to tie those pieces of wood casually to the raft. When the time came, it would be easy to replace them or hold a piece of wood to survive. 58 people, 9 double-decker wooden rafts. With Fan Jianxi and the other two, the number of people on the wooden raft was less. There were only 4 people. One person was in charge of rowing, while the other 3 were enjoying themselves. As for the other 8, there were 2 for 7 people and 6 for 6 people. Everyone was ready. Fan Jianxi and the other 2 even asked people to put some food that could be eaten directly on their side of the wooden raft. The wooden raft was also tied to the wooden raft. When Fan Jianxi asked people to tie it, the person in charge objected twice. He didn't want to do this. Just as he was about to explain, waves came one after another. Helpless, he could only tie it up and leave immediately. After a few more waves, the water level finally lifted these wooden rafts and they floated down with the current. In this place, they could not easily change their direction, otherwise they would be hit by the waves. After Tsang Diao rushed out for a distance, the person in charge finally came to the side of Fan Jianxi and the others. The person in charge said to Fan Jianxi and the others, "3 sirs, should we throw away the tied wood? Otherwise, with these tails, it is not easy to change the direction of the raft, especially these tied pieces of wood. If they get caught on something, the boat will not be able to leave." Fan Jianxi did not know this kind of thing. He had never made a wooden raft himself, and did not understand the mystery of it. When he heard the person in charge, he wanted to agree, but then he felt that if he did so, he would lose his momentum as an official. He could only pretend to be very knowledgeable and said, "Don't worry, this kind of thing is very common in our local area. Look at the water, what can get caught on it? And even if it gets caught, what can you do? At most, you can break the branches of the tied pieces of wood. That's it. If you want to throw it away, throw away the pieces behind your own raft. We can't throw away ours. You have just arrived here, so you don't know so many things." After being scolded for a while, the person in charge didn't know what else to say. He agreed and didn't say anything else. He thought about whether or not they would hit the reefs if they went down the current. Right now, he still couldn't change the direction. He could only make small adjustments. Otherwise, if he used those crudely made oars to continuously push in one direction, the strength would be directly offset by the waves. Thinking about this, the person in charge arranged for people to untie the tied pieces of wood and pull them to the front. When they reached a place where the current was strong, they would first release these pieces of wood. If there were really any reefs or undercurrents in front, these pieces of wood would let them prepare in advance. Seeing that the person in charge had done so, Fan Jianxi and the other 2 thought for a while and decided to wait for a while. If they did it now, wouldn't they be following the example? After a while, when they looked at the current, they would say that the wood was doing this for them. Everyone at the seaside would know. In this way, they would have an excuse and could show their ability. With this thought in mind, the 3 people's wooden raft was a bit swayed by a wave. Even if the only person on the raft tried his best to stabilize the raft, it was not very effective. This scared the 3 people, especially the most timid one, Jiang Huanshi. When the wooden raft swayed, she quickly said, Quickly move the pieces of wood to the front. The shaking is already very strong. It's just the right time." The current in this position was very unstable. The wooden raft swayed back and forth without any pattern. It was all thanks to the paddle that the paddle used to offset the power of the wave. At this time, when he heard Jiang Huanshi's order, he said helplessly, "Sir, you have to do this." "Sirs, this matter can only be handled by the 3 of you. I have been controlling the wooden raft, otherwise, it could easily flip over." "What? You want us to move the pieces of wood to the back of the raft? We're not people who stay on the water all day long. We can't stand when the raft swings. You do it, we'll help you look after the paddle." Jiang Huanshi did not know how to row a boat, but she saw this person rowing there just now and felt that it was not difficult. For example, if the wave came from the left, then use the paddle to paddle back with all its strength. This way, with the help of the force, the paddle could press down on this side of the raft. Then, it could also push to the left and let the wave hit the paddle. With a push and pull, the paddle and the body, it could also offset the force. This looked very easy, so Jiang Huanshi said as she approached the person and reached out to take the paddle. The person had no other choice. He was really disgusted with the pieces of wood tied to the back because every time the wave came, he had to use more strength to offset the force. After passing the paddle to Jiang Huanshi, he immediately ran to the back. He did not plan to move the pieces of wood to the front. As long as he opened the place where they were tied and used the paddle to push, the pieces of wood would naturally rush to the front. He understood, but he overestimated Jiang Huanshi's ability. Jiang Huanshi held the paddle in his hand. When he saw a wave coming, he directly used the paddle to block the wave. It was easy for him to see, but in the process, he had to be very familiar with the force of the paddle. Jiang Huanshi did not know. When the paddle went over, the raft was not stable and he was directly knocked down by the force of the wave. When the wave hit, his body leaned to the other side. This time, the whole raft was directly turned over by the two forces. "Help, I don't know how to swim. Help me." At this time, Jiang Huanshi had no time to regret. He shouted with all his strength. After shouting twice, he disappeared. Chao Harue and Fan Jianxi were one day better than Jiang Huanshi. They could swim in calm water. At this time, after falling into the water and being hit by the wave, they immediately woke up after drinking 2 mouthfuls of water. They tried to swim to the overturned raft. As long as they could touch it, they would be fine. Jiang Huanshi's figure sank and floated up in the water. This was not the reason why he could move back and forth in the water, but the wave was like this. When the person who went to get the wood saw that someone fell and was far away, he could only grit his teeth and swim after them. This person's skill was really good. He used to work on the other side of the Yellow River, so he was very good at swimming. He could also catch carps in the Yellow River with his bare hands. It was because of this skill that he dared to swim over. When the other people on the wooden raft saw that it was overturned, they also jumped down to save the other 2 people. Jiang Huanshi did not know how much water he drank. He felt that his vision was getting darker and darker. When he was about to lose consciousness, he suddenly felt his body tighten. Then he could feel the light outside. Although he could feel it, it was still very uncomfortable and he couldn't breathe. He exhaled, and when he wanted to inhale, he found that his throat was blocked by something. His hands and feet kept moving, and his face became redder and redder. Just as he was about to faint again, he was finally thrown onto the wooden raft. When his body hit the raft, he made a hiss sound. He felt really happy and finally breathed in a little bit. The person who rowed also came to the raft and picked up Jiang Huanshi, making him squat down. Needless to say, this squat was useful. Thank you so much. It's okay if that wood doesn't understand." Jiang Huanshi walked back and forth in front of the gates of hell. He kept thanking the person who saved him. At the same time, he did not dare to touch the oar again. This time he knew how powerful it was. This person did not say much. When he was swimming back, not only did he bring a person with him, he was also hit in the leg by the piece of wood he had just untied. His whole leg was still numb. Fortunately, he was good at swimming. When he was hit, he followed the force of the impact and turned a circle. Otherwise, this leg would have been gone. They took the oars thrown by the other people and continued to row forward. They did not have a destination. They only hoped to reach a place where the current was not so turbulent. Then they could change direction and go somewhere else. The people on their side began to be careful, especially Jiang Huanshi. He had not fully recovered yet. He felt that his head was very painful. This was because he was choking on water. His ears were buzzing, and his eyes were sore and astringent. Because they met people who were good at swimming, Jiang Huanshi and the other 2 people had a big advantage. Otherwise, with their own abilities, they would have been dead. They were safe for the time being, but the same could not be said for other places. The typhoon moved up along the Qin River and began to expand. It was moving at an extremely fast speed. All the trees in its path were blown down. Some were even uprooted. They flew into the air and spun for a while before being flung away. The people here, if they had a cellar, they would hide in it. Although there was still water pouring down, it was enough to avoid the typhoon before it reached the surface. Those who did not have a cellar would try to run away. As long as it was not directly facing them, they would be able to run further away. As for those who saw the typhoon, they could only resign themselves to their fate. If there was a thick tree, they would use rope to tie themselves up. This was the experience they had left behind. As for houses, they must not stay in them. Otherwise, very few people would be able to survive. In this situation, the typhoon swept past very quickly. At the same time, wherever it passed, there would be no completed houses. Even if it only brushed past one side, it would be done for. In just 2 hours, the typhoon arrived at the provincial capital of Qinzhou. Some of the local people who were also good at reading the sky had already hidden away. They even told their neighbors. Those who believed in it would hide with them. Those who did not believe in it would continue to stay at home. There were also some who were even more foolish. They clearly believed that the typhoon would come, but they still unhurriedly packed up their things and prepared to take away everything that could be taken away. As a result, time was delayed. When the typhoon came, people like them would either be blown away by the strong wind or be crushed by some wind, rain, and houses. The number of casualties increased. Some people who were taken away by the wind were fine. The ground was soaked by the rain, so it was very soft. As long as they were not hit by anything and did not encounter other things in the air, falling from a few meters was really not dangerous. In the provincial capital, the Tang governor of Ning did not know that a typhoon was coming. Although some people in his family had predicted that a strong wind would come here, he did not know the specific time. After all, this place was a little far from the sea. It was very difficult to read the sky, and there were many obstacles when it came to judgment. It was not as good as in Luzhou. When people in Qinzhou saw that the sky had changed, they could judge where the wind should come from. However, when the people in Qinzhou knew that the sky had changed, it was useless. This was because even if the wind did not come here and only blew in Luzhou and Lianzhou, the sky would still change. By the time the Tang governor of Ning knew that a strong wind was coming, it would be too late. He was not like Zhang Zhong, who dared to lead the whole province to the mountain when his judgment was not very accurate. He could not do it here. Even if he asked people to do so, many people would not listen to him. It's over. It's over. I wonder what's happening in other places. Where is this wind coming from? The Tang governor of Ning stood in the provincial capital and muttered to himself as he felt the strong wind bringing some soil and trees with it. After all, this was the place where his family lived. Naturally, the provincial capital had to be well repaired. In the face of such a strong wind, the provincial capital might be able to withstand it. Even if it could not withstand it, he was not afraid. There was a cellar in his house. What he was really worried about was the loss this time. They had just recovered a little, but now it came again. This time it seemed to be more powerful than the last time. It was not easy to do business in the provincial capital. Without people, how could they do business? The people felt that they could not stay in this place anymore. They all ran away. Who could they sell things to? Looking at the sky outside, the Tang governor of Ning was also full of worry. At this time the housekeeper came in. He ran very hurriedly, and his clothes were soaked. As soon as he came in, he shouted to the Tang governor of Ning, "Master, run quickly. Hide in the cellar. The wind is coming. It's coming from that side. It's going to be here soon." The Tang governor of Ning was shocked. He did not dare to hesitate and immediately ran outside with the housekeeper. The rest of the people in the family must have hidden. The two of them went to the middle of the courtyard. There was a cellar here. They opened the lid. The Tang governor of Ning jumped in first, and the housekeeper followed. But before they could close the lid, a gust of wind swept over. With a whoosh, the lid was directly blown away. Then, a lot of things fell from the sky in a mess. The steward's head took a hit. Fortunately, it was a mat, so he didn't faint. It only made a small cut on his head. This time, he didn't want to cover himself with a lid anymore. His body flashed away from the entrance of the cellar. "Master, the wind is really too strong. We're finished. The emperor may have made something to apologize to us. We can't expect to have a good time here." The housekeeper touched the place where he was just scratched and felt that there was something sticky on his hand. He knew that the lid was broken, but he could not see anything in the dark cellar. He could only brace himself and wait for the wind to pass. The Tang governor of Ning was also worried about this matter. He just thought about whether he could keep his position this time. Although he knew that he had nothing to do with this disaster, the imperial court must find someone to take care of it. As a parent official, if something happened to this land, people would say that he did not manage it well, and that was why the heavens were angry. The more he thought about it, the more worried the Tang governor of Ning became. He felt that his stomach began to feel uncomfortable. He opened his mouth and vomited a mouthful of sour water. He asked the housekeeper, "Do you know where the wind came from? Is it related to Lu Zhou? Did they also suffer such a great calamity?" His series of questions revealed his feelings. He hoped that others would be like him. If everyone was in trouble, his responsibility would lessen. This was especially true for Lu Zhou. He was hoping that the wind would blow after Lu Zhou had made a trip around the city. At that time he would have an excuse to take action. Lu Zhou's provincial governor Zhang Zhong was immoral. Since he came here, the heavens were angry and sent disasters here twice in a row. It was not wrong to say that. After all, the disaster happened after Zhang Zhong came. If Zhang Zhong did not come, nothing would happen this year. Last year and the year before, it was just that the rain was heavier. The Tang governor of Ning, who wanted to shift the responsibility to Zhang Zhong, was desperate and asked the housekeeper to tell him. However, the housekeeper did not know about this. He had just come back from outside. Fortunately, it was dark here, so he could not see his expression. The housekeeper was showing a dissatisfied look at this time. He knew that if he said that he did not know, the master would not be happy. Chapter 476. When Tang governor of Ning heard this, he was very happy, even though he knew that the steward was not clear about it. He just wanted someone to say so. It did not matter whether it was true or not in the end. After comforting himself, Tang governor of Ning stood in the water and said to the steward, "This time I don't believe that Zhang Zhong can escape. Let's see if he can make a wooden raft formation again. With such a strong wind, any wooden raft will be useless." "Master, you're right. Zhang Zhong is really finished this time. I don't think there are many people left in his place. It's a pity that because of his arrival, the people there have been suffering one disaster after another. The most infuriating thing is that not only did Zhang Zhong bring disaster to his own place, but he also brought disaster to the surrounding places. Master, when the wind blows over, you must write a memorial to impeach Zhang Zhong. Just say that Zhang Zhong is an unlucky person who harmed people. Also, it must be because of the Zhang family's business that made the heavens so angry." The steward knew what the master was thinking. Since the master had such thoughts, he would just go along with it. After all, he could not let Zhang Zhong go. Otherwise, if he let Zhang Zhong go, who would take the blame? Unless the imperial court said that they would let the officials here go first. Governor Ning nodded happily, but then he asked, "Then what do you think we should do if Zhang Zhong's side didn't lose much? Do you want to send someone to check it out first? That will delay time. I'm afraid that Zhang Zhong will make the first move and delay this. His memorial has been sent to the imperial court first. If I send it there, it won't be of much use." "Master, don't worry. I think Lu Zhou won't be able to escape. Even if they didn't suffer many losses, they will definitely suffer some losses, right? In particular, there was a pier there. No matter how the wind blew, as long as it followed the river, it would definitely blow the pier away. Master, first write the memorial and send it over. Zhang Zhong will not care about him. Just say that he is an inauspicious official. When the time comes, no matter how he justifies himself, it will make people think more. After all, this is a disaster that happened after he came. The housekeeper continued to persuade him. He knew that even if he didn't, the result would still be the same. However, the master liked to listen to other people's advice. When Mr. Tang, Governor Ning, heard what the butler said, he made up his mind. "All right, that's what we'll do. Do you have any other ideas?" "Master, that's enough. There's no other way. But the people here are in trouble. It'll take a few months for the imperial court to give us the things. Master, we have to do disaster relief first. We can't just watch the people run elsewhere. Last time some people ran to Luzhou. If we don't help them this time, Zhang Zhong will still do what he did before. He will take care of everything and use his family's money. Then all the people here will run to Luzhou. Without people, who will be able to farm?" The butler had learned his lesson this time. Last time it was actually his idea to not care about the people. To be precise, it was this idea that came from his mouth. As for who came up with the idea, it was not important. If things were to continue like this, it would save the family a lot of trouble, but the local people would be very disappointed. They would run to Luzhou even if they had to cross the mountains. When Mr. Tang, Governor Ning, heard about disaster relief, he frowned. He knew how Zhang Zhong did it. He took out money from his family first and then bought things for the people. Then, when the people had nothing to do, they would work for him. Some of them would repair Luzhou, while the others would help the chambers of commerce over there to collect things. In this way they would be taking advantage of the people. After all, in the process, the people would only get a part of their wages. Those good things like fish, armor, tortoise shells, and so on would all go into the Zhang family's pockets. Needless to say, this method was really good. At least, none of the people there were dissatisfied with it. But it was different here. He couldn't take out so much money to organize the chambers of commerce. At the same time, there were already other chambers of commerce here, and they had a good relationship with each other. If he took out money to help the people deal with the aftermath of the disaster, wouldn't it benefit the other chambers of commerce? Thinking of this, Mr. Tang, Governor Ning, told the butler about the problem he had just considered and asked him to help him come up with ideas. The butler pondered for a while and said, "Master, if we really have to fork out the money, it's indeed a bit of a loss. How about this? Since other people have their own chambers of commerce, let's find them together. Everyone will contribute some money, and when there are benefits, we'll share it." No, how can it be that simple? The people of the chambers of commerce here are usually so honest, but if we really ask them to fork out some money, they will never do it. Moreover, even if some people are willing to fork out some money, some people won't. Of course, the people who fork out the money will be unhappy. However, we can't ask everyone to fork out the money. For example, if we ask the people who are in the grain business now to fork out some grain, they will be very willing. But if we ask the people from the restaurants to fork out some food, they won't do it. The people who are in the grain business can wait until the situation here is better and ask the people to help them grow more grain. But what about the restaurants? Ask the people to go there to eat more. Mr. Tang, Governor Ning, felt that this matter was not easy to handle. Some people had a reason to fork out the money, while others didn't. It was hard to understand the benefits between them. With this thought in mind, both of them fell into deep thought. The wind was still raging outside. At this time, the people didn't know what to do. The people around them were all running, and there were all kinds of things flying in the sky. The rain kept falling, and all kinds of screams filled the air. There was also the sound of the wind and the sound of things breaking. The provincial governor hid, and the officials in the county naturally didn't follow him. They couldn't care too much. If the sky fell, there would be someone tall to hold it up. When the strong wind blew past, there would be a small wind blowing over. The commoners couldn't find a good place to hide. Some people were pinned down, while others ran to a safe place. It wasn't that those who ran to a safe place didn't want to help those who were pinned down, but the wind didn't stop. In the nearest county, the people in the yamen were basically all gone, especially the county magistrate. This Qinjiang county magistrate also took his family to hide in a cellar. This cellar wasn't specially built to guard against the typhoon, but to store some goods. The Ning family had a lot of power here, so a lot of things had to be taken out or stored together under their orders. This way they could take advantage of the fluctuating prices to make money. The Xinjiang County magistrate was called Wang Qing. He was a very obedient county magistrate. At this time, he was a bit glad that he had a cellar in his house. Otherwise there would be no place to hide. The whole family hid in the cellar, waiting for the wind to blow over. There was a young daughter in this family. She was different from the daughters of other officials. This girl was very kind since she was young. Unfortunately, she couldn't find another kind person in her family. This year she was 16 years old and was about to get married. She didn't expect to suddenly encounter such a thing. Hearing the movement in the cellar, she said to her father, "Father, what should we do with the people outside? There's still room in the cellar. Can fit 100 people. Why don't we let people shout outside and find some people who don't have a place to hide?" Wang Qing looked at his daughter and shook his head. He sighed and said, It's not that I don't want to help those people, but if I really send people out to shout, what if 150 people come out? This cellar won't be able to fit all of them. At that time, who can't come in? Then we can throw out the goods that have been here for more than a month. That way there will be room. Are people not more valuable than goods? Fei knew that her father was just being perfunctory, but she still wanted to help those people. Wang Qing said with a straight face, "If we throw the goods out, they will be blown away by the wind. At that time, what will our family eat?" This matter is related to Tang, governor of Ning. If we wait for the wind to blow over, Tang, governor of Ning, will ask us to take out the goods. If we can't do that, do you think we will have a good life in the future? Don't think about this. This is life. Those people who are lucky can survive, and those who are not can't blame others. Don't worry after this disaster, as long as the wind blows over and Tang, governor of Ning, says something, I will immediately go out and start the disaster relief. Why wait until it's too late? Why do you want to save people when most of them are dead? We can save them now. If it was Lu Zhou's provincial governor Zhang Zhong, I believe that even if he threw out everything, he would still let the people hide in the cellar. Moreover, he would immediately send people to organize the rescue. Moreover, when encountering such a situation, he would definitely take precautions in advance. He wouldn't wait for the disaster to come and think of a solution. Father, I beg you, there are so many people. Fei was really angry this time, but there was nothing she could do. She did not dare to disobey her father, but now she knew that there was such a provincial governor who cared about the people. What do you know? He is him and I am me. What good is it for him to take precautions? Will the imperial court reward him? Fei, let me tell you today, if you want to get political credits, you can't take precautions. You have to wait for the disaster to come and save people with other people. You know that when the time comes, you will be credited for the disaster relief. Wang Qing was very clear about this. However, after Fei heard it, she was stunned. She never knew that things would be like this. Looking at her father, she felt that he was a little strange. When Wang Qing saw that his daughter no longer wanted him to go out and save people, he continued, Moreover, there is a saying in this disaster relief. It's not that you can save people. Look at me, if I go out and save people now, won't I save more people than other places? Other places are unwilling to do so. Moreover, Tang, governor of Ning, should also be in hiding. Tang, governor of Ning, is in hiding, and I go and save people. Do you know what will happen when the time comes? Others didn't save people because it was too difficult, so they couldn't save people. However, when they can save people, they will put in a lot of effort. However, I saved people first, which means that I have the ability to save people. So why don't I save more people? This is considered a failure in saving people. Do you hear me? As long as I save people, I will be considered a failure in saving people. As for those who can't be saved, they have encountered difficulties and overcome them later. This time Wang Qing was telling the truth. He was indeed in a difficult position. Things were just as he said. Others were in hiding, but he had to rush out and save people. That would incur public anger. After flying for a while, she sat down in the water in the cellar and stared blankly at the dark place. She suddenly felt that the darkness in the cellar was not as dark as the darkness in human nature. She muttered, "If this happened to Governor Liu Zhou, if he was in my father's position, what would he do?" Zhang Xiaobao already knew that the typhoon would not hit here anymore. The winged cavalry that he sent out came back to report the situation at Qinzhou Bay and Qinjiang. Report: the gale has passed. It is very strong. Not only is there a lot of water upstream, but there are also some houses and corpses. I have arranged for people to wait there for rescue. Little young master, what should we do next? After the messenger finished his report, he waited for the next order. At this moment, Wang Wan said, "I don't know if they are prepared or not." Before the gale came, they had already sent out fast horses to the surrounding provinces to report. I hope that the Ning family will be able to take precautions in advance for their family. Zhang Xiaobao had the same thoughts. That's right. After all, that place is their foundation. Just like Sanshui County, if someone from my family is an official there, they will naturally have to think about their own foundation. Even if they don't help outsiders, they will have to make arrangements for their own family. I'm just afraid that they are stupid enough to avoid the gale. Have the ships returned. Get people to enter Qinjiang as quickly as possible and go against the current. See if there are any civilians who need the supplies. If there are, give them some. Especially the medicine. Even if they are prepared, there will still be people who will be injured. Let's hope that the injuries will be small. The messenger immediately got on his horse to make arrangements for the ships. Zhang Xiaobao called over the 56 people from his family and the 50 bodyguards from the prince's mansion. He said to them, "Now I will give you a mission. That is to go to Qinzhou to participate in the rescue. You have to ride fast in the areas where you can. If there is no road, then force your way through the mountains. I think that with such a strong gale, the civilians will be in chaos for a while. You have to go there to save as many people as you can. The other reason is to tell them that the rescue supplies will be there soon. Tell them not to worry and to persevere." At this point, Zhang Xiaobao took a deep breath and said, "Now, I just want to know if you can complete the mission. Remember, force your way through." "We promised to complete the mission." The 56 people shouted in unison. The bodyguards from the prince's mansion were not trained to do this. They waited for the others to finish shouting before they shouted again. Zhang Xiaobao waved his hand and prepared a big backpack for each of them. There were some medicine and hardtack in the backpack. The horses were also prepared. The 106 people jumped on the horses. 2 more people went to bring the horses back. The 106 people rushed out in the rain. "I have done what I should do. I don't care about the other side. We have to continue with our lives here. Let's see how their wooden houses are doing. They actually picked a lot of mushrooms before the rain stopped. We will eat mushrooms for dinner." Zhang Xiaobao couldn't always care about other people's matters. When he saw them leave, he could do this much. Wang Wan also knew that it was useless to keep watching others. When the time came, the situation would be the same. She just had to do her best. The most elite people had been sent out, so she couldn't let the civilians go, right? Ignoring the fact that these civilians couldn't be of any help, the time it took to get there would be enough for the other side. At this moment, Li Sun still didn't know that Zhang Xiaobao had already arranged for a rescue team. They were a little far away, but it was the closest state. The other states probably wouldn't send people to rescue them. Li Sun was currently under a waterfall. He looked at the water flowing down and instructed people to build a pavilion. Originally, they had agreed to build some wooden houses, but Li Sun felt that this place was not bad. He wanted to build more good houses so that it would be easy to come here to play in the future. He also wanted to build more pavilions and corridors because he heard people say that rainbows could easily appear at this waterfall. Li Sun knew the principle behind rainbows. It was the refraction of water vapor. When there was sun, he could turn his back to the sun and use his mouth to spray water to create rainbows. However, rainbows were too small and weren't as big as this waterfall. Looking at such a wide waterfall, the rainbows would definitely be very beautiful. It might even be a scene of rainbows within rainbows. When Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan came over, Li Sun was asking others where rainbows usually appeared. This way he could arrange for the pavilions to be built there. Otherwise, it wouldn't be good if the pavilions blocked the scenery. Xiaobao, over here. There's a rainbow here. I heard people say it's very beautiful. I didn't see it the last time I was here. Li Sun's eyes were sharp. While he was talking to others, he saw Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan coming over. He waved his hand and called out to them. When the two of them came closer, Li Sun suddenly noticed that Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan's expressions were slightly unsightly. He asked with concern, "What's wrong with the two of you? Are you cold?" "It's nothing. The wind blew to Qin province. I wonder how the preparations there are. If they're not ready, I really hope the wind won't blow in that direction. They'll just circle around Luzhou and sweep the houses and the land twice before leaving. At most they'll just lose some money." Zhang Xiaobao did not have any intention of gloating. Although Qin province and Luzhou were not on good terms, that was the government's business. It had nothing to do with the commoners. Even if they had something to do with it, they could not just let them die. Even if they were fighting, they had to save them when they were in danger. Li Sun's expression changed slightly. He did not want the commoners to suffer any losses. After thinking for a moment, he said, "They should be ready. Didn't they send us a message in advance? Why don't we send some people and things over to take a look? They've already sent them out. It's too late even if we send more people over. This is the reason why I asked for your 50 guards. Alright, let's not think about it anymore. Tell me what we're going to do here." Zhang Xiaobao tried his best not to think about other places. However, he was always thinking about it. He did not have the energy to talk about it. Li Sun suddenly lost interest. He looked at the waterfall and said to the people who were preparing to work, "You guys can fix it as you see fit. You can do whatever you want. Remember, there should be a pavilion above the waterfall so that the water from the waterfall can form a mist around the pavilion. That's all." After that, Li Sun looked at Zhang Xiaobao and asked, "Did you send a lot of things? How many people can use them?" "Not many, but there are some medicinal herbs. It's hard to say how many people can use them. It depends on how many people are injured and how badly they are injured. There are also some doctors on the ship. The rest are some blankets and other things. They are all good blankets. I'm going to sell them for money. There's also a little food. It's not much. It's estimated that it's enough for 2,000 people to eat 3 meals of porridge. My other ships can't get through." Zhang Xiaobao listed the things on his ship one by one. There were not many things, but he had no choice. It was obvious how strong the current was in that place. Besides his family's flagship, no other ships could get through unless they pulled a cable. When Li Sun heard these few things, he became worried. He said to Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan, "What about my ship?" "My ship is the same. Quickly, let's organize the things here. When the time comes, we'll transport them to the other side and wait for them to be loaded. I'll transfer my ship over. I'm really worried that the people over there won't be able to prepare well." As he spoke, Li Sun pulled Zhang Xiaobao and ran back. He didn't care about the things here anymore. As long as they could transport the things over, it was fine. Even if they didn't need them when they got there, he would be happy. He would rather those things go over there and be told that they were prepared and didn't need them. The thing he was most afraid of was that when the things arrived, they suddenly found that they weren't enough. That would be troublesome. Li Sun thought about this matter as he ran back. After thinking for a while, he suddenly said, "I've decided. If the things on these 2 ships aren't enough, we'll continue to transport them. We'll transport as much as we can. Then we'll ask about the situation over there. If they didn't make any preparations and didn't rescue them, then I'll be rude." Then don't blame me for being impolite. So what if you're the provincial governor? I'll impeach him. I definitely won't let him have an easy time. Xiaobao, let's make a deal. When the time comes, I'll be in charge of the official matters. Isn't the Ning family a family? Don't they have all kinds of industries? You must let your family help deal with these industries, okay? Promise me. Li Sun was really angry. He was determined to be a good marquis. He definitely wouldn't allow a situation like this to happen. He had already warned them, but the result was that they weren't prepared. Chapter 477. The storm raged for a few days. When the weather finally cleared up at Lu Zhou's place, the locals heaved sighs of relief. The strong wind did not destroy their houses, and the heavy rain did not cause a flood. The water flowed into the two rivers and some smaller tributaries that they dug and flowed into the sea. There was still a long time before the construction of the wooden houses on the mountain was completed. Li Sun left some of his men to continue working in the mountain and paid them more. The others began to pack up and prepare to return. They wanted to see which areas had their seedlings washed away so that they could replant them as soon as possible. Also, they had to continue with their fishing. The people knew that even if they did not hide in the mountain, they would not be in any danger. However, no one complained that the kind official should not have done this. After all, seeing the results and taking precautions were two different matters. Moreover, they had done some work in the mountain, and they did not lack wages. News from Qin province had not arrived yet. Perhaps the people who were in a hurry had just arrived, or perhaps they had not. Qin province was far away, and the main problem was the road. If they had cooperated with Lu Zhou to build the road, it would not have taken them much time to travel there on horseback. For the past few days, Li Sun had been writing letters every day. After he finished writing them, he would leave them aside and wait for news from Qin province. He would choose a letter and send it to the capital depending on the situation. He also urged Zhang Xiaobao to come up with a few plans with his family members. Just like this letter, they would adopt the appropriate measures according to the situation. Zhang Xiaobao did not have the time to think about this. He casually thought of a few countermeasures, but they did not add up to more than 1,000 words. He sent them to Li Sun as a plan. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan had other matters to attend to. Although they had profited from their trip to Lu Zhou, they had to make a comparison. If Zhang Xiaobao did not restrain himself, the money he invested in Lu Zhou would have been several times more than what he had now. Since he did not do that, he should at least make up for it in other ways. The two men who had been busy with Lu Zhou's affairs finally had time to spare. They were preparing to trade with Lei Province Peninsula and Hainan Island. Both of them felt that since there was a disaster here, there should be a disaster there as well. Hence, they wanted to send some food over to take a look. At the same time, they also brought some specialties from the capital. The Liezhou Peninsula was not a place to be anxious about. All the ships had to pass through there and go through the Chongzhou Strait. The fleet did not stop at these two places. Instead, they went to Hainan Island first. That was a really good place to grow some tropical plants. We need to find a reliable translator first. What if it's difficult to communicate with the ethnic minorities over there? What are their customs? Do I have to wear earrings? What gift should I give her? Zhang Xiaobao was worried. He was afraid that the people he sent would accidentally anger the other party. He thought about how he would have to transplant a large number of species from other places on the island in the future and build a dock. He had to build a good relationship with the other party. Wang Wan, on the other hand, was not worried about the matter of a translator. She said, "There are already people living there. We just need to find a translator among them. The languages there are more diverse. It's just like the people living in the mountains here. There's no need to give them gold or silver. We can't afford earrings, but they don't lack pearls. Then we should give them some gifts. What else can we give them? Hawksbill. I think there are more of them than here, right? Give them a few sets of sofas and other furniture. I wonder if they're willing to use them and give them some handicrafts. I have a feeling that their craftsmanship is better than ours. It's said that Huang Dao Granny learned how to weave from there. Zhang Xiaobao rested his chin on his hand and thought hard. When Wang Wan heard Zhang Xiaobao mention weaving, her eyes lit up. She suggested, since they like to weave and use cotton wool, we should give them more bouncy cotton. I look forward to seeing them make more beautiful things with cotton. I believe they'll like it. Then we'll give them cotton. If they think it's good, we'll teach them how to grow cotton and watermelons. Zhang Xiaobao couldn't think of anything else. Only giving them something that they didn't have could make them happy. Since they were skilled and could weave good things, they should be able to accept things like cotton. Wang Wan had a different idea when she heard Zhang Xiaobao's plan. Xiaobao, we can just let them help us weave the cotton. Why do we have to teach them how to grow it? We have the resources here. When the time comes, we can just exchange the things they make for cotton. If they know how to grow it, will they still be able to exchange with us? How could Zhang Xiaobao not know about this? First he thought so too. However, considering that the Li tribe over there, now called the Li tribe, had their own culture and traditions, their craftsmanship was not so easy to learn. Other than them, others might not be able to master it so well. If they sent the cotton to them, they would make good things. As long as they exchanged, it would definitely become a commodity. Other people also grew cotton now. When they saw this kind of thing, how could they not know where it came from? It was precisely because of this that Zhang Xiaobao decided to teach the Li tribe how to grow cotton. He also provided seeds and a flower weaving machine. He explained to Wang Wan, now the tribute over there is cloth woven from cotton. It's very beautiful. Once a new thing is made with cotton, others will know it's produced locally. Then, would the other people who grew cotton wait for us to exchange with Hainan? If it were you, wouldn't you interfere? Since we can't keep a secret and don't have the ability to keep a secret, it's better to be generous and let them feel our sincerity. As long as the cotton matter is successful, we can collect specialties from various places in the future and bring them to Hainan Island for the locals to choose from. That's right. Then we'll put our brand on everything we send over. Let them remember this brand and let them understand the benefits of cooperating with us. We must also let them know that we are not worse than them in some aspects. Don't they have a rattan weaving skill? After a while, we'll find someone from the inner courtyard to start training. Wang Wan also knew that this skill could not be monopolized, so she could only give in. She waved her small hand and began to arrange. What do we have that can surpass them in weaving? Find craftsmen from other places. How long will it take to learn? Zhang Xiaobao felt that there was no technology that could be used. Why not? The heart is like a double net. There are thousands of knots in it. Let them tie China knots. I'm not very good at it, but I know a few knots. Wang Wan stuck out her chest and said proudly, aren't you just a skilled worker? I don't want to learn even if you let me. Let's not talk about this anymore. Prepare to go down the mountain. Zhang Xiaobao waved his hand indifferently and turned to leave. If you don't know, just say you don't know. Why are you looking for excuses? Hey. Wang Wan shook her head happily and also left. The rain converges into a river, into the sea becomes a wave. The waterfall soars into the mist. The echo is a mountain song. When the wind comes, there are many things to worry about. Perhaps the hometown is still happy, but there are thousands of knots. Most of the people began to go down the mountain and immerse themselves in their new jobs. Some of the people who came from Qin province were in a bad mood. Although they could not see their hometown, they would still look there from time to time. There were places where they used to live and relatives. The wind did not wreak havoc in Luzhou and went to the other side. They wondered how their relatives and neighbors were doing. If the officials there could do half of what Luzhou did, they might be able to avoid the wind. Perhaps their relatives there were worried about them as well. They thought that the wind came from this side first. They really wanted to go and tell them that everything was fine here. Even if the wind came, it would not hurt them, let alone the wind. Some of the people had such thoughts as they followed the team down the mountain. When the time came, they would go back to their own homes. After that, they would have to replenish the seedlings. Li Sun did not stay on the mountain to supervise the work. Most of the work here had been arranged. There were people who worked, and there were also guards who protected the people from being harmed by the wild beasts. Perhaps the next time they came here it would be a different scene. After they went down the mountain, the crowd gradually separated. In the end, there was only a group of more than 6,000 people left. They continued to move toward the seaside. These people were the people of Idyllic County. A quarter of them were fishermen. They went home to take a look and tidied up before they went out to sea again to fish. Li Sun rode on his horse and approached Zhang Xiaobao, who was also riding alone. He asked curiously, "Xiaobao, what's your family doing again?" "Nothing much. The roads in the province are not finished yet. Some parts of the docks are damaged as well. They have to be fixed first." Zhang Xiaobao yawned and replied. Last night, he was busy calculating how many things he could bring to Hainan Island to trade. He was sleepy. Li Sun obviously did not believe Zhang Xiaobao's words. "If you're not doing anything, then what are you doing?" "Wang Wan took a few of your maids and mysteriously went into the carriage. Did she find something good again?" "No, she just went to play with the rope. It's a woman's business. Don't worry about it," Zhang Xiaobao casually said. Wei Wei put more strength into her legs, and the horse's speed increased by a few degrees. Li Sun still did not believe it. After thinking for a while, he still could not figure out what a few maids could do to earn money. He shook his head and urged his horse to catch up. He asked again, "What do you think will happen in Qinzhou?" "Who knows? We have already prepared the food here. If the loss is really big, send it in your name. Wait, maybe in 10 days or half a month the news will come from there." Zhang Xiaobao yawned again and again. He leaned on the horse's back and closed his eyes to rest. Li Sun also yawned and rubbed his eyes. He gave a look to the guard next to him. The guard quickly stuck to Zhang Xiaobao's side, afraid that he would fall asleep in a while. Li Sun came to the head guard and whispered, "Keep a close eye on them. What if there is a profitable business? You want to leave me behind? In your dreams?" The guard nodded and passed on the task. The group traveled for more than 4 days in a row. It was almost 5 days before they returned. It was much slower than when they went. When they went, it was to save their lives. Wang Wan spent most of the time in the carriage. The maids were also the same. They were all in high spirits, but no matter how others asked, they did not reveal any information. Chapter 478. Li Sun took the time to ask again, but he still didn't get the answer he wanted. He could only put it aside for now and focus on Qinzhou. "Brother Fan, Brother Zhang, we're almost there. You have to hold on. Come, drink some water." On a mountain road leading to Idyllic County, Chao Harue put the water bag to his mouth and took a sip, then passed it to Fan Jianxi and Jiang Huanshi. The three of them walked together, encouraging each other along the way. From time to time they would grimace, as if every movement was making them feel uncomfortable. Jiang Huanshi took the water bag and drank a mouthful. She rubbed the bruises on her face and hissed. She turned her head to look at the road they had come from. Then she quickly turned her head back and said angrily, "What's wrong? When we get back we'll get the men and kill them all." No, I won't kill them. I'll beat them up every day just like how they beat me up." "Brother Jiang, don't think about it. Haven't we been bullied a lot these days? Just get used to it. There are even generals who are defeated and captured. Who told us to steal from other people first? Stealing from other people's houses, if we get caught, we'll beat them up too. When we get back, don't mention it. Get some money first and save those boatmen. We can't just leave them be. Otherwise it would be hard to explain to the Tang governor of Ning. Luckily we survived. We were beaten once, but didn't we eat something? It's too scary, just thinking about it makes me scared. We almost died in that wind. It's good that we're alive, it's good that we're alive. Fan Jianxi was also injured and tried to persuade them. In fact, he knew that even if he didn't persuade them, they couldn't find anyone to take revenge. If they couldn't find anyone, would they borrow money from Zhang Zhong? If Zhang Zhong asked how they were injured, would they say that they stole from the mountain people and got beaten up? Not to mention whether he was guilty or not, this was too embarrassing. It was not shameful to be beaten up. After all, he could not beat the other party, so he should be more injured. What was shameful was that a dignified official of the imperial court had stolen something. If this was exposed, it would add a lot of joy to others in the future. At this time, Chao Harue took out some pancakes from the basket on his back. They were already wet from the rain, so there was no need for him to break them. He held them in his hand and rolled them into a ball. He ate them in small bites. Fortunately, there were still some green onions in the basket, so he could eat them as a side dish after taking a bite. While eating, he said, "It seems that the gale is heading towards Qinzhou. I wonder how Tang, governor of Ning, will deal with it. If the loss this time is too big, Tang, governor of Ning, will ask for help from Lu Zhou. That will be bad. If both sides are on good terms, the three of us will be easily bullied again. Those mountain people are not bad. After beating them up, they know that we are Lu Zhou's officials. They even gave us some food and water, otherwise they would have starved to death. Soon we will see people in half a day. I wonder how they are doing at home. Did Zhang Zhong hurt them? Did they get washed away by the water? Blown away by the wind?" The other two sighed at the same time. They were also worried about their family. The three of them had been gone for such a long time. If Zhang Zhong wanted to, he could just find a random reason to deal with the people at home. Just the money they owed, forcing them to pay up every day could drive them to death. Life at home must be very difficult, and the three of them were not comfortable. Fan Jianxi tightened his belt, looked at the sky and said, "Let's go quickly. The earlier we go back, the earlier we can help our family. Now I know why Provincial Governor Shi was so scared. He couldn't protect his family. Even though he raised 50 private soldiers, he could only compromise." Fan Jianxi felt the same way, but he had no way to regret it. If he didn't suppress the provincial governor, then they wouldn't be able to earn money. He hated Provincial Governor Shi now. If Provincial Governor Shi could be tougher, then the two sides could reach a compromise. But Provincial Governor Shi was so weak. He had been honest all this time. As a result, the four of them were spoiled. The newcomer Zhang Zhong also bullied them. Who knew that he was so powerful? With just a little move, the four of them were finished. If it were not for Provincial Governor Shi's weakness, how could the four of them be so careless? The other two also thought of this, but who could they blame? Who would have thought that the person who was supposed to be sent here like a prisoner would actually be so capable? His family was also rich. It was useless to try to rope him in as well. The little bit of money that they could earn was not even enough for him to take out casually. Thinking like this, and thinking of their family, the three of them began to speed up. When it rained, it was cold, humid, and stuffy. When the rain stopped, it was hot and stuffy. Although it was winter and the temperature here was not that hot, it was hot in the mountains. In addition, they walked fast and drank water from time to time, making them feel weak all over. When it was 5 in the afternoon, the three of them finally returned to the government. They went directly to their own home, which was farther from the government office, to take a look. They did not have time to deliver the letter to Zhang Zhong first. The three of them had just arrived at the place where the four families gathered. They saw the servants of the Lu family bustling in and out. All of them had happy expressions on their faces. The three of them were stunned. They did not understand what was going on with the Lu family. Fan Jianxi looked at the other two and saw that they were also confused. She whispered, "Did Lu Shaoqing think of a way to get rich? Return the money. Let's go and ask." The three of them came to the servants of the Lu family. Chao Harue was the one to ask, "What is going on with you? Where is your family's master?" The servants of the Liu family had been working and did not notice the three of them. When they saw them, they were shocked. Ghosts, where did these three things come from? His hair was disheveled. His face was dark and a little purple, and his clothes were tattered. Only his eyes looked normal. One of the servants looked carefully and recognized Chao Harue and the other two. Seeing the three of them like this, he wanted to laugh but did not dare. He could only say, "My family's master is doing something in the government office. There are many things waiting for him to do. We are making some salted vegetables." Doing something. Doing what? Chao Harue and the other two were even more confused. They knew how to make salted vegetables. Looking at the servants, they felt that it was better to go home and ask their family members. What if the servants of the Liu family were lying? After receiving this answer, the three of them jogged back to their respective homes, worried about the situation at home. In the end, when the three of them returned home and stood in the yard, they realized that there was no one there. There wasn't even a handyman to be seen. The three of them gathered together with worry in their hearts. They looked at each other and told each other about the situation at home. They thought that it was Zhang Zhong who did it. They gritted their teeth and did not wash their faces. At the same time, they walked towards the government office. They wanted to ask what was going on. On the way, they happened to meet the servants of the Liu family. You're tuning in to the Whispers of Romance YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.